Hello, hello.
Hey James, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm tired, but I'm good. How are you doing?
I too am quite tired, my friend. Uh, but yeah, I'm doing good.
Yeah, between the time change and 2 days of conferences.
Yeah, the time change really it snuck up on me last night, literally. One minute it was 2 o'clock and I was having a conversation. Then 4 minutes later, I was driving home and it was 3:15. And I'm like, what the hell happened? I know I wasn't talking that long, but I don't know. I was talking about Chat GBT, so I could have been. It's possible. Hello, Dana.
Have you played with the Bing version of it? It's
I
supposed to
have
be.
not messed with the Bing version much.
I can't
But
get it to work on my Mac. I need to probably
yeah,
log into Windows 11 and try it.
the people are claiming it's 4, but I don't know that it's all that different, honestly. Hello, Dana. I believe you heard about us from Colin at the Hypno Summit, correct?
Absolutely correct. Yeah, so happy to be here. Just nicely lined up on the right Sunday. So wait a minute, is this every Sunday?
This is every Sunday.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's the right Sunday.
Yeah, it's the right Sunday. You are here on the right Sunday because it is Sunday.
Sunday.
Huh. How long have you guys been doing?
We could have just moved the hustle over to the cocktail hour.
How long have we been doing this?
Over a year.
Yeah, I would have to look and see, but yeah, it's probably about 2 years now since we first got started.
Yeah. Oh, solid.
But yeah.
Where are you, Scott? Where are you?
I'm in Texas.
Where?
Amarillo.
Oh, okay.
And you?
I'm in Nashville. But I grew up in New Mexico, so I go through Amarillo occasionally.
Yeah, Steve spent a significant amount of time under a non-disclosure agreement from the government in New Mexico.
Yeah. We've met. Hi, Steve.
I don't know who she is.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
And you'll remember Snap.
But yes,
so Dana, you're gonna find this funny. My son is looking like he's gonna move to Kentucky, and we've been looking for houses over in the lower Kentucky, Tennessee area over by you.
Awesome.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So
it is beautiful. I've always said if I was going to live anywhere other than Texas, I'd probably live in the Central Valley of Tennessee. Now, when the family I care about all finally kick the bucket, there's a chance I'll get a house. It'll probably be a second house though. I'll probably technically live on the piece of land I'm on right now until the day I die. So.
So are you a performing hypnotist?
I perform some hypnosis, but I'm not what you would necessarily call a performing hypnotist. I've never been on stage, but I do a lot of stuff that's, recreational. Street hypnosis, but rarely on a street. House parties, events, stuff like that.
Oh, I was going to say, they don't have those in Amarillo.
No, they have plenty of streets.
They don't quite have as many people as Vegas, where you can do the street hypnosis pretty easily. It's a little more awkward in Texas just to go to a group of 4 people.
Yeah, it would be probably. You're right, especially Amarillo. I mean, we're probably about a 250,000 if you count all the people the census doesn't count.
Okay, that's few. No. Right on.
How's everybody doing?
Excellent. I assume you two are here from Colin's endorsement at the summit today.
That is correct. I'm honored to be here.
I know Steve mentioned us in there, but I didn't get a flood of people showing up after Steve mentioned us in there. So you might need to up your game on how well you're promoting me, Steve.
I didn't mention you at all, Scott. So
yeah, you did.
What was that, Lisa? Lisa?
I don't remember you mentioning it. I thought this was like our little secret.
Yeah.
You can't. That just tells you one thing. You cannot tell Colin a secret and expect it to stay that way.
It was interesting when so Paul Ramsey has a mastermind group, and he said, if you're not a participant in this group, if you just think you're going to wallflower and not do the drills, get the skills, like you're out. And I know I'm in another group that's a practice group, and usually it devolves into just a round robin chit chat fest. But occasionally there's actual practice, and there's one group member that checks out, like
The moment the practice comes up, boop, oh, gotta go.
oh,
It's like, why are you in a practice group? Why'd you show up? But I get that too. Like we all, in our profession, we pretty much all work solo. So even if you're not practicing, it's good to have the camaraderie amongst colleagues.
Yeah.
So,
Mike, where are you from? Or do you want to be called Michael?
Mike is fine. I love Mike. Michael is more of a professional name for everybody else, but no, Mike for my friends. So consider me your friend. There you go.
Thank you.
I'm from Michigan.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh.
Yeah,
Why
well,
uh-oh?
Dan's from Michigan too.
Yes, I know. I know Dan.
Okay.
Yeah, Dan, I help him out with the Michigan Hypnosis Conference.
Yeah,
But
I need to get some more information on that. I thought that was when he mentioned that, I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah,
So-
it was a lot of fun. It was the first one last year, and it wasn't very well. It wasn't. Let me put it this way: the people who were there was well attended, but there wasn't a lot of people. But it worked out very well. Yeah, I'm.
What are we eating?
What's up?
What are we eating, Lisa?
oh yeah.
because of this conference, like I haven't had an opportunity to cook for 2 days. So I have the like 7-layer dip.
Oh.
We've all been in front of our computers.
And then I
Yeah.
found some chips that don't have potatoes in them. So
Oh, yeah. All right, keep going, Mike. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no,
Well, you did a good job for something you weren't meaning to do, Steve.
I know it.
I'm hungry and my roommate is cooking, so I'm going to be smelling food in a minute. And I was like, this is not good.
That's all right. So
Hey,
I've been doing
Michael.
a hypnosis, hypnotherapy, or not hypnotherapy, but I've been doing stage hypnosis for 32 years. And
Nice.
yeah,
Mike,
yeah.
I caught one of your sessions. So did you bring Norbert with you? Just curious.
Deborah, Norbert is downstairs. Yes, no, he.
Okay.
Did you like him?
Yes.
I-
Oh my gosh, how fun.
I thought it would be kind of interesting. And it was true. Like I was saying in the class that I never even thought about combining puppetry and hypnosis together. And so it was, you gotta do what you gotta do and accentuate the positives. So I tried it, and it was very well accepted. I love it.
I mean, if you find something that works, run with it. I mean, Lisa kind of does puppetry and hypnosis. She's got a voodoo doll.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes she even uses it in the hypnosis shows.
I was like, I thought you were talking about Alan there for a minute.
Well, I mean, there's that too. I wasn't going to get directly into that, but yeah, you're not wrong.
Okay, so you have a voodoo doll.
I have a voodoo doll. I have my own routine that I wrote because everybody does a voodoo doll, right?
Right,
But the point of it is to be original, make it your own.
right.
And then we'll talk about barking dogs in a minute. So I have a voodoo doll, and I got this started with my last act, which was the Hypnosis Sisters. And so this is where the Southern drawl comes out. So I will just tell y'all my skit. So
Lean into it.
lean into it. So y'all are the volunteers on stage already. So I went on down to New Orleans. I met up with a voodoo queen. She gave me this here voodoo doll. She warned, beware the powers, y'all. For whatever this here dolly do, our friends on stage will now do too. Listen up. Here's your cue. This doll's put a spell on you.
Mm.
The song put a spell on you, not the Bette Midler version. And then I have them start to, bounce and dance and blow kisses. tickle them and whatever else.
Very nice.
My voodoo doll is about maybe 2 feet tall, custom made. And everything that I wrote the skit before I had the doll. And it turned out that the person that made me the doll eventually told me that they used to live in New Orleans.
Too much of a coincidence?
Coinky dink.
Okay, so no stabbing while you're on stage. No.
No, I'm actually of the camp of I would never do anything to my hypnotized volunteers that I wouldn't want done to me. So I am not about causing pain. And
Yeah, because she's not a freak like Colin. Like Colin has that same rule, but he'll do a lot more to his volunteers.
He can take
I
more
don't
pain.
like that when a hypnotist has a voodoo doll and a giant knitting needle and they go stab. I can't get, or shocking them, or I might pinch their butt like you would a toddler, and I pinch the voodoo doll's butt.
What? Like, wait.
You
I have never in my life pinched a toddler's butt. What? No. Like,
I bet your wife has.
I bet my wife hasn't.
It's like got your nose, but it's the butt.
That's
Okay. Now
different.
I've pinched a toddler's nose, but no.
You're usually wearing diapers. They don't even notice. You're like, hey, move it.
Yeah, you're probably safe not going around and pinching people, Scott. Like, maybe
I mean, that's
policy.
generally my policy. So
yeah, but if you do it right.
Yeah. But my pinch is like this. Boop. Not.
yeah, there is a difference.
No purple nurples. Yeah.
Yeah, no. But the worst thing that I've done is we have a sock puppet routine where they take their own socks off, they put it on their hand, and it's a puppet, and we're going to do a puppet show. And it's SpongeBob, that's why he's wet. And then they sing.
Oh, God. The dirty.
This is on YouTube. So they sing "He Lives in a Pineapple," their little thing, and then at the end, usually it's Alan that does it, but every once in a while I will say, "Now give your puppet a big kiss." Mwah! Yeah. So that's the worst thing.
Yeah.
And they've had it on their feet, and that's gross. Yeah.
Why he's wet.
That's okay. I do a gimmick where they I take the good smell, bad smell one step further, and basically say that they want to breathe in. They want to, after the bad smell, they want to breathe into something, an air filter that's located inside their shoe. So
That's bad.
yeah.
But good.
Well, depends.
Sounds hilarious.
No, they're not.
You definitely don't want to breathe into their depends.
No. Good
Your
point.
neighbors depends.
When we do good smell, bad smell, it's good smell. Lift up your neighbor's arm. It smells like banana walnut bread, bacon in the oven, fresh chocolate chip cookies. Get a good whiff. They don't mind.
Yeah.
So, Colin, I could not pop on while you were doing your presentation today, but I was listening, but I was just in a too noisy of environment to interact.
Yeah.
But I had, like, you were talking and you made the comment about how the volunteers kind of intuitively speak Chinese during the Alien Translate version, right? They speak those phenoms, right?
About it sounds like Mandarin about 40 or 50% of the time.
So I had an idea that sparked an idea in me, and I told you, like, I had formatted the skit so that it's a talk show, right? And you've got the guy who's a conspiracy theorist and doesn't believe that the aliens are real, all this stuff, right? But I thought you could start the skit off by saying we received a transmission from the aliens in their language, okay, and have the transmission, like, play the transmission that was received on your audio and have it be the dial-up, the dial-up tones from back in the day getting on the internet, the fax tones, have
Yeah.
it be that, and then that comes out as the translation
Or
because
just
they
ask
got the
everybody
cue
over-
from
over
the
what dubstep sounds like.
what dubstep. Okay, maybe.
I gotta say real quick, Scott, I had the same idea when I was high and like 18, but I actually didn't think that there was, not about a show, but actually the aliens in that area. So
Yeah.
you're not the only human thinking that.
But yeah, I think that would be really funny to have somebody up there translating the alien language because, of course, the planet that when we got there, it was silicone-based life form, and that's why they sound like dial-up internet.
No, I love that, having a sound to play that we just got a transmission in. I may.
Yeah, we got a transmission in, and then that way you can subtly cue them on what the hell the language is supposed to sound like.
I also take it one step further. I also not only do the alien bit, but I also have an alien sign language person. So they're doing sign language to the alien and everything like that. And then I have the alien. Yep. Then I had the alien go out into the audience and greet a person in the ways in their alien way, which is obviously not shaking hands, it's something else. And I leave it up to their imagination to whatever they want to do. And then they come up back on stage and sing the Martian national anthem.
Nice.
That's good.
Mhm.
And then you could really top it all off by getting a prop neuralizer and standing up there in front of all of them and being, I need everybody to look up here, and neuralizing all of them to forget as
Men
you
in
send them
Black.
to sleep.
Be interesting.
I think Susan has a neuralizer. I could tell her to incorporate that.
Good ideas coming out here. So
So while you guys are all here, I have a question for you. I've, just like all of you, you've seen other hypnotists, and you're just watching them and kind of seeing what they're doing and fun stuff like that. My question is that I've noticed that some people, when they do their shows, they do their suggestions, bam, 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 bam. So they'll have like maybe 10 to 15 suggestions all in one show. I do mine almost like each one is a different scenario. All of them are little vignettes. So I'll do probably 6 to 8 of them for an hour show.
Okay, so are all of your skits essentially group skits?
No, some of them I usually do 2. The first 2 is in group skits. Then I'll do a chain reaction, and then I'll do some more group skits, and then a couple more individual stuff, and then one big last one.
Okay. So what exactly was the question, just to clarify it?
So the question I have is what do you guys do? I mean, what are you in the ways of when you do your show? Is it first you're hot, then you're cold, now you're a fish, now you're this, that.
Well, I'll let Colin and Lisa answer this, but I can guarantee you Colin is not hot and cold. Though he may turn somebody into a fish conceivably, but I guarantee you he's not doing hot and cold. He has a deep personal offensiveness to hot and cold, apparently.
I don't do it either.
Hot and cold has its place. I mean,
It does. It's training. Hot and cold is training. That's why everybody does it, But there's other things you can do that are more interesting, Colin believes, and I think he's right.
well, I think you're right too. We start with after the induction, and ours has like little vignettes, but there's multiple things in each little thing. Alan likes it to kind of flow like a story.
Mhm.
So after the first thing we do is stuck to the chair. Well, no, the first thing we do is the balloon. We're going to give you a balloon, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
And cut the balloon sleep. Again, deepeners.
Mhm.
Then stuck to the chair. A little bit of, there's a story that goes with that. He's talking about how you're driving down the freeway and you got to go to the bathroom and you're stuck to the chair and no. And then touch your nose and you don't have to go to the bathroom anymore. And God, when we're in the set, I do it. We have, then it's hot and cold, not always, but you know, it's like cold, it got cold in here, you're really cold, you want to, you know, whatever, cuddle up with somebody. And then it's hot, and now they smell bad because they got
Mhm.
hot, sweaty, right? And then and you know, somebody farted, but if you want to hear a unique fart thing, we're gonna let Colin tell you about his. And then now we're gonna give you some air freshener. We got a big fan. We're gonna make the, you know, make the bad smell go away. Now
Mhm.
they smell good. They smell really good. Get up in there, get a good, you know, sniff.
Mhm.
Then we're gonna, you know, fan the bad smells, the good smells away, and everything's back to normal. There's a whole other vignette where they're pop, you know, the old school, they're popcorn, they're a typewriter, they're a washing machine, they're a jackhammer, they're a goldfish, they got jumping beans. And then it goes into doing the can.
Mhm.
And then you're a belly dancer, then you're or a ballerina. I'm forgetting the order. You're a ballerina, you're a belly dancer, you walk like an Egyptian, which nobody knows how to do anymore.
It's
Which
not.
just makes it more amusing.
It's funny when you got a guy going like this, and they're like, that is not walk like an Egyptian, but yeah. Then you're surfing, then you're in the circus, you know, just no. It's like
Mhm.
each thing builds on the next. Somewhere in there is the movies. You went to the movies. It's funny. It's sad. It's scary. It's now you're on a roller coaster, and if we're on a fairgrounds, I throw water on them when they're on the roller coaster,
Okay.
which gets a reaction from the audience. You know,
Mhm.
So my version of hot and cold.
millions of spits.
Yeah. So my version of hot and cold is the amazing hypno fart. Okay. I go right into that. Half the volunteers are given the suggestion that when they hear the magic sounds, that the person right next to them just ripped one. It's toxic. It's the worst thing they've ever smelled. The other half are given the suggestion that when you hear that sound, you realize you did just rip one and you're really proud of it. You think it's hilarious and you want everybody to know it was you. And so that is what I do at the time when most people are doing hot and cold.
Okay.
And then on top of that, I am paying a lot of attention to see who is going to be the most enthusiastic about calling out the people who are ripping these stinkers and who the people are who are like most excited that they are doing that. And that gives me a lot of information right there. And then I'm using that later 2 or 3 times throughout the entire show as callbacks in basically random places wherever the hell I feel like it in that moment. And so yeah, that's kind of my approach. Other thing I would say is that most of my stuff outside of that one, the majority of it is our routines involving about 2 people usually. And the reason for that is that I know there is comedy in the conflict. A lot of my routines are based on something that there is conflict about in our daily lives. And so that's kind of the direction I tend to mostly go in.
Colin, I just had an idea for a smell skit for you. The setup. And suddenly, like a cop in a bad neighborhood during a routine traffic stop, you think you smell something very specific.
That's good, Scott.
Now I combine Lisa's and Colin's together in the ways of the movie and the smell, because I'll do the first movie is the funniest movie, then the saddest movie, and then I'll do an action-packed movie where they think a truck is coming right at them. And then I do a movie that's been filmed in Sensound, or smell-o-vision, excuse me, smell-o-vision, so they can smell flowers. And then the second one is they smell a campfire, and there's this little, and they smell the s'mores, and it's wonderful. And there's a little boy in the corner, and he's about to rip a big one, and all of a sudden you hear a farting sound, and it gets, the farting sound gets worse and worse and worse until it sounds like a wet, long one that the people just go, oh my God, oh my God. And then I do the scariest one where it, bless you.
I don't know, that sounded pretty scary.
I do the scariest one, and they strap themselves with a seatbelt in, and then I tell them that's the scariest movie, that it's their grandparents in Speedos sweating to the oldies, and grandma's twerking. So grandpa twerks with it.
I don't know. I think I might stay away from people's grandparents, but yeah, I mean, if it works, I bet it's funny.
Well, I mostly work with high school and colleges. So
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. I mean, if it works, they're good.
Oh, yeah. So
All right,
interesting.
takeaways from today.
Wow, I love Scott's.
Huh?
I loved Scott McFall's ending speech, or the last thing. It was amazing.
Closing speech.
Yeah, the closing speech.
I'm going to have to catch that on the replay. Oh.
Me too. So I took a couple of notes, and one of them was,
I thought,
Casey, you're not in a movie studio, are you?
no, I'm walking my dog. I thought Adam Cox was the bomb.
So did I. You and I were
Holy
both in that.
shit.
So that's my first note of the night. I sent Scott and everybody a message. Let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Where hypnosis is going to go 5 years or 10 years from now. So
Yeah.
my thought was, just like World of Warcraft or something, where you would have a metaverse built where people could go. When I say people, I'm talking about the youngsters of today that are using virtual reality and AI on everything. And so my thought was create a metaverse for a comedy hypnosis show. And unfortunately, when I called my brother-in-law, he's like, yeah, you're going to need billions of dollars for the tools just to create that. I was like, what can we do? And he says, well, try doing it one-on-one. And I was like, that's called Zoom. So,
Right.
but that was my thought on a metaverse where people were actually wearing virtual reality glasses and going out there, and you could sell tickets to your show.
So
and they showed up.
I want to hear Colin's take on this.
I want to hear Scott.
The technology is not 5 years away. It's a lot longer in terms of where they are going to need to get to, and that where the technology is at is a big reason why Meta has cratered so badly.
Yeah,
there is a puke factor that impacts about somewhere between 55 and 65% of the population.
and they're not being able to figure that out nearly as easily as they thought they would.
Sure.
They thought
Yeah,
higher and
and-
higher frame rates would take care of it, but it's not.
And just talking to some people that have made use of some of these tools, it's like I'll give you one real specific example. My son is an avid gamer. That's why he has the career he has now. He's got really, really nice VR setup.
That collects dust.
No, it doesn't collect dust, but I would say he's still spending 95% of his gaming time on his big ass PC.
Yeah. So a year and 3 months ago or so, I would have been right along with where you're at right now, Steve. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
me
go
too.
gangbusters on this. And I spent about 6 months going gangbusters on it. And I wish I had spent all that time dedicated just to audio. Because I have not seen the return I wanted to see on that. I thought it was right around the corner. I thought everybody's going to adopt this. It's going to go crazy. And I had a little bit of success. Enough that, I mean, it's not terrible. But I believe that had I spent that time focused on audio, I would have gotten a lot farther than I did focusing on VR and 3D. Because like Colin says, it's not ready. It's not as ready for prime time as it seems. And everybody I know who has a VR system, they use the crap out of it for about 3 weeks. And then they use it very occasionally and they just don't get a lot of use out of it after that. And that's part, like I said, it's part because of that puke factor. It's still quite disorienting if you're in it for very long. For me, I found it to be way more immersive than I thought it would be, given where the technology is at. But at the same time, it just wasn't. It didn't manifest as much as I thought it would in terms of customers.
Scott, have you hypnotized people in a
No.
VR session?
No. All I've done is develop products. But I haven't done any one-on-one inside of VR. I have no doubt that you could. It's not going to be much different than doing it in Zoom. Yeah, it's not going to be much different than that.
Yeah, it'll be more than 2-dimensional. That's
yeah, but
well, that's what I was thinking. If you had let's say you had a avatar style digital forest with lots of cool things to look at, you could use that in the induction and say, as you look around.
Yeah, so there's one app that's big out there in the space. I can't think of the name of it right now. But they've pretty much got the market cornered because they had millions of dollars to put into development and their stuff is really cool. And yeah, you can spend some time trying to catch up to them if you want. But as long as the market is as dismally being uptaken as it is right now, I'm not going to invest much time in it.
Well, now, I'm not asking you for $1 million.
If Elon Musk makes some sort of major breakthrough with Neuralink and people start getting it implanted and you can get VR that's more like Ready Player One, well, then we'll be talking about a whole different ball game. I have no doubt.
Yeah.
There's this thing that happens to you when you get old.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, glasses are fine. You can get glasses. You can get VR sets that your glasses can fit inside of. That's not a problem, really.
Yeah, mine did not. And I tell you, I have a VR set that my glasses didn't. And
what do you have?
I can't even remember what it was because I'm that guy that bought it, tried it out, and put it back in the box.
So is it one of those cheap, you put your phone in it kind of units?
Yes.
Yeah, that's not VR really. I mean, it is, but not really. Get your hands on an Oculus that has it has a little frame that extends it so that you can put your glasses in there and everything.
Yeah, I might get one
and it
for
works
my
acceptably.
This year.
Yeah, you can also you can also
Write it off. It's a business expense.
Yeah, there you go. You can also get prescription lenses for your VR setup.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've gone to see movies in 3D and they don't do anything for me. So
Make you sick.
Well,
Okay.
it's a lot different, but the thing is, I found that there's a lot of pressure just on the neck. So if anybody is not comfortable with the neck, then after
That's
5 minutes.
That's
okay.
another reason I'm saying as long as it's a bulky headset, I don't see it getting widely adopted. Now, granted, like you said, as far as something similar to Zoom where you have them laying down and instead of getting their headphones on to do a hypnosis session, they put a VR headset on, that's fine. And there's some other things you can do inside it. Like you can use light pulse techniques to entrain the brain waves and stuff. And that's what a bunch of my stuff did. And right now I'm going to be just flat out honest with you. The majority of my sales in this market did not come from what you might call the traditional hypnosis set. The majority of my sales have come from the brainwashing hypnosis kink community. Because it has another layer of factor on there for them. And you know, yes, there is some market there, but
Immersion.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just,
So one of the things with technology and hypnosis is the question, from my perspective, is not what can we do or could we do, it's what should we do, and knowing why we're doing it. And so as James just brought up, hey, you could use these visuals in an induction. It's like, and my question is going to be, I think that most of the time when we're using when we're doing an induction with just our voice and we're creating some of these visuals, at least for me, those images get really freaking hyper realistic as I'm going under and really super vivid. And so what's the reason why we're doing that? Could be, I mean, I don't know. I think and it's like, and if it's just to get the induction and we're not doing something in VR where their eyes are open, which is going to be kind of hard for us to know if their eyes are open or not, I think. And they're in trance, eyes open. What are we looking to accomplish beyond what we're accomplishing if somebody's watching a movie or playing a game that's in VR? You know, which both of those things are a form of trance.
so
Yeah,
well,
and that's the point of it. It's, you know, you put these kids in a game, you know, all these ADHD kids that can't pay attention to anything, but they can damn sure play video game for 15 hours straight, right?
yeah,
So-
exactly. There ain't no ADHD. You're
The
just
dude
bored.
right behind me.
What
Yeah.
what worries me is if you're going through a VR session and someone has an ab reaction. And
I mean, it'd be no different than somebody having an ab reaction on a phone,
Yeah,
you know, on a phone session. But I mean, you can't worry about ab reactions.
no,
And the very fact that we still call them ab reactions, you know, it's just a reaction. It's generally an emotional release. And if we're doing change work, we should expect emotional release, you know. So
Well, I mean, Carl has it all the
yeah,
time.
he'll tell you all the time that it's not
He's
an ab
working with it
reaction.
all the
That's
time.
what that's you know, that's almost the goal, you know.
Yeah, right.
So
He's shooting for it.
yeah.
we should
And,
call it
um,
normal reaction.
And really, if you're on the phone or you're in VR, if you'll just let them know that that's normal, you know, it's
Yeah.
okay. I've done this. This is just go ahead, you know, and they can
Now-
work through it a lot of time, depending on.
One thing I
severity.
didn't get around to developing that I was before I just was like, I'm spending way too much time on making VR stuff for the amount of sales I'm getting in return for my effort. I was thinking the next thing I was going to do was actually going to be developing some VR programs that were based on EMDR and eye movement and using the visuals to direct the eye movement, you know. Just follow the dot, or I wouldn't have made it dot. I'd have made it something a little more interesting to look at. But follow the image and, you know, essentially do EMDR in VR just by having the dot move in the correct way. And I thought that could be highly effective, and it could be a way to do that I think would be more effective than just say making a video of it and somebody watching the video on a screen. Like I think in VR, that could be really effective, a follow a dot kind of thing where you're doing EMDR by using that technique. But again, development of VR stuff is not easy or untime consuming. 3D video is a whole lot easier. But then you still have the one of the biggest problems I have with any of my customers is Apple products are assholes, and it's at least 40% of your market and getting a simple video that is the most common format on the planet that everybody else uses to just plug and play on an Apple device is a nightmare. Yeah, Colin, it's a nightmare. You couldn't figure it out, and you're techie, man.
What video? It's like I've been getting. It's like, what video did I not get to play?
Like I sent you some of my stuff to test out, and you had trouble getting it to play. You had trouble getting it to play on the VR system. You had trouble getting it to play on the phone. And like most of your customers are want to use your stuff on a phone.
Right.
You know?
No, absolutely. No, I'm just trying to think. I forgot about that, but it's like all the other videos I'm doing, I'm editing, playing on my iPhone.
Yeah.
And
Well, the videos like, I had a lot of trouble getting iPhone users to be able to use to be able to just watch a video. It's just a video. You know?
What is it?
Using?
What was that, Joe?
What codec are you using?
The most common MP4 stuff.
MP4?
H.264. H.264 is what everything's encoded in.
H.264. Yeah, that's what we use to film it, and it plays on our Apple stuff.
Well,
But
I'm telling you,
it's
when
the
you
MP4
download it from the
the-
internet, like it don't like you to do nothing. It's what?
It's the MP4 part that the Apple doesn't like.
Yeah.
Apple likes .mov, which is just a quick file.
Just download
Yeah.
viewer and
Yeah. Yeah. My wife just made a point. There's this app. It's called the VLC viewer.
Yeah.
And basically that will play any video out there.
Yeah, and I mean, I give instructions, but for some reason, even when you give really spelled out instructions on how to do something, customers for some reason can't comprehend that. And I mean, it's and what the thing is, I have to give. So my PDF is like this. If you have an Android, click this link. If you have an Apple, here's a page and a half of what the hell you have to do to make a video play.
So,
You know, and it's because it's in a zip file, and like I could host it as a live video so that they're playing the video from a streaming service, but then that costs me bandwidth and everything. Every time they play it, it costs me bandwidth, and it's like I'm not doing that. Download it, put it on your phone, play it. It should be.
Why can't you make it an unlisted link on YouTube?
I mean, I probably could, but that's not very professional in my opinion. You know, here's a YouTube video to watch that you just paid me for.
Can you load it on Groove?
Maybe I'm not familiar with Groove.
That you don't- I'm not. familiar.
Yeah, no, I have it. I just haven't messed with it.
what are you editing the video in?
I probably use Shotcut to edit them, though I use a few different editors.
Okay. Do you have DaVinci?
I don't even have DaVinci now. I could probably get DaVinci. DaVinci's
So,
free.
yeah. So here's what I would
Yeah.
do, and I'm only using DaVinci as an example, is you bring it in, bring your MP4 file into DaVinci and just have it render it in .mov and give that to your Apple customer.
Absolutely. I could do that. But I just at this point I've abandoned the project altogether just because there's just not enough demand for it. You know, there's not enough demand. There's too much headache. It actually takes a lot to render 3D videos. There's a lot of technique to it, and I'm just like I'm good. I'm probably gonna. I mean, I'm still selling the products I made. You know, I'm not gonna stop selling them because I took the time to make them. But like I said, if I had invested that time in making audio products or YouTube videos, I probably would have gotten a lot more results for the time I put into it. So,
okay, moving on.
Yeah. Did you have any other questions there?
I gotta go, but it's been awesome meeting
Gotta
you.
go.
right,
All
good
right,
meeting
we'll
you.
catch you next Sunday, hopefully.
All right.
Okay, next Sunday.
All right.
See, Dana, take it easy in Vegas. So the other thing, just on the Chat GPT front.
Yeah.
So, and I know Alan was in who?
Oh, is it time for you, me, and GPT?
Yeah, you,
Is
me,
it
and
time for that
GPT.
segment? All right.
Yeah,
You, me, and GPT segment.
So GoFunnelBox, they contacted me today and said that Chat GPT will now be incorporated in GoFunnelBox probably within the next week. So that puts Canva and Chat GPT within that platform.
Now,
And
what do they mean by included?
incorporated in there, so you can go into Canva there. So I think they included it, and I didn't get. So that was my question, Scott. Are they providing you with a free version, a paid version, or is it just a link to ChatGPT?
Or yeah, is it a link to ChatGPT?
Yeah.
Are they iframing your version, or are they pulling in API codes?
Yeah,
If they're pulling in API
don't know.
codes, that would be really cool because you don't run into some of the limitations you do with the public facing.
Right. And I
setup.
think that's how my Canva operates in that environment as well. But I know, I think it was Richard Barker. Alan and I were both in Richard Barker's last class. And the one thing he had going on was.
Catch you later, Michael.
All right, Michael.
See, Michael.
Hi.
But the thing that he talked about was using a chat widget instead of filling out forms. And I was like, I like that a lot.
A chat widget instead of filling out forms where?
Yeah, you go to somebody's webpage or they call. So he's linking everything to contracts. Somebody calls his number on his webpage and to inquire about a contact. Well, his chat widget picks it up and takes it from there and kind of goes down the workflow and automation trail of, hey, sorry, couldn't get your call, blah, blah, blah. Put your name in here, make a comment on what you're looking for. And if it's something about a show, the chat widget will direct them to like a contract section and give them like a standard contract or whatever. And it just got my mind going a lot. And I was like, wow, I really like that. So I'm going to explore that a little more.
Okay, so what are you exploring? Setting up a chat bot or incorporating ChatGPT? That's a chat bot. That's a chat bot.
Yeah, not a chat bot, a chat widget that is really part of your workflow that will direct you down a certain aisle, unlike a chat bot that is just, please give me your general feeling today so I can make sure I get you to the right doctor. And then by the end of it, you have to book an appointment anyway. So,
okay, so what would be the difference between a chat bot, because that's what it sounds like you're describing, and the magical chat bot you're describing from Barker?
The widget. Yeah, so
what do you mean by widget?
So a chat widget is going to, instead of being on a computer and filling out a form on a website in a funnel,
okay,
the chat widget would be like if somebody called you and they had their phone, it would be like an SMS text to say, well, just enter your name here and we'll get back to you, or enter your name and your number. So,
that's still a chat bot.
I
mean,
I 100% disagree.
I'm going to go ahead and disagree 100.
If that's not just a chat bot, then I'm missing something in the translation here.
You'll have to watch the replay.
Was that what here? I'm going to pause for just a moment.
Jackie.
Gotcha. Right in the middle of the sentence, Lisa. Yeah, you're going to be so busy helping us, Steve, get our GoFunnel box set up.
I'm good with that.
We're going to be that's going to be like the Tuesday mastermind. It's going to be like, it's GoFunnel box time.
Oh.
I mean, I'm sure Steve would be okay with that. I could handle that, but we're going to have to move the time up. The sun's going down later.
No, you need to move the time down, not up.
I get it. Yeah. If it gets any later out of here, I have to shave at some point.
I know. I'm like, I haven't really seen the inside of my kitchen in 2 days. I'm like, I'm starving.
But did you get a lot out of this summit?
I did. I enjoyed myself tremendously. And I liked that it was focused on performers.
It seemed like the live aspect of it pretty much went off without any major hitches.
Yeah.
Which is good. I did not like, did anybody else have the experience of every damn time you went to any page, it wanted you to do a survey and the damn box wouldn't go away?
The survey wouldn't show up for me the first day. And then when it did, it just
would not go away no matter what you did. It just kept coming back.
Wow.
But other than that, like everything was great about the live experience as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, I had no problem with the survey. I probably filled out 8 or 9 of them. The only thing I didn't like, and we figured that out real early, is you had to start the recording to get the join button function outside of the classroom. So,
okay.
Yeah, because it's like I wanted to leave feedback on certain ones and it wouldn't let me pick which one I wanted to leave feedback on since I didn't have like the days. So I figure I'll just give Jim my feedback personally.
Did they?
Yeah, the Collins talk really sucked. Oh my god.
Hey, are you muted? So did you really? No.
Your mic's hot, James.
My big boy
I
was.
had
I liked your talk a lot, especially the second one. It was very practical, and then I
Thank
love
you.
that you pulled out that book and even went through an example with the different filters. So that was really cool. I wanted to get that guy's name that you mentioned who does the comedy classes.
It is Jerry Corley is his name. Standupcomedyclinic.com.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a good time in your class, and yeah, Misty and Alan, nice 1-2 punch with your talks as well.
That's how they scheduled us. I had no control over that.
Well, at least they upped it to an hour instead of 30 minutes.
Yeah, I was like, what the heck?
They were like HR show. That's not important. It doesn't need much
Oh,
time.
and somebody didn't even, they were like, during one of the chats when it came up where they were talking about adult content, somebody goes, "Oh, Lisa, you got some more stuff for your R-rated shows." And I was like, no. That was the whole point of my talk was not that, was the opposite of that.
I wonder how many people read that and missed the H.
It was a little bit difficult to read.
But once you knew what it was, that's the right title.
Maybe you need to redo that and not make it the HR friendly show. Make it the just actually spell the whole thing out. What is it? Human resources friendly show.
Doesn't roll off the tongue. HR rated.
I like the way it was.
I got it the first time. I knew what Lisa was going to be presenting on.
Maybe I should remove the parentheses. I will.
Yeah, it's the parentheses that made the reading difficult.
Yeah.
You could make it like a little H, but people would think it's just type.
Hey, Jim.
Okay, no more talking about him. He's in here now.
So glad you're able to join us. We've been talking about you. You got to catch a replay. We've been talking about the summit. Things we love, things we hated.
I want to pop in here. I had to take my wife to work and stuff. I wanted to pop in here because I know there was a lot of people that are involved in the summit, that spoke at the summit, that attended the summit. And I want to tell you guys, I thank you so much for your support. Really. Thanks a lot.
And no problem, man. I thought the summit was really good. What I was able to catch of it, I'm looking forward to catching the replays. I was just saying, we were just saying to Sean that the live kind of went off without a hitch. It seemed like nothing I ran into had any problems with the live aspect of it. And that's really awesome because live summits, I've been to some live conferences before and they often have a glitch around every corner. So that was really good.
Well, I'll tell you, I think on the front end, there were probably not a whole lot of glitches, but Sean handled a lot of stuff on the back end. So, I mean, he's a freaking hero.
Well, he handled it. He handled it beautifully.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good.
I'm on my way to get some celebratory KFC right now.
I figured you were going to get some pineapple pizza.
You've just given up on keto, huh?
Yeah, forget it.
But yeah, no, I'm really glad that it went well. And you seemed you had a really good turnout for everything. So
we did, and the feedback has just been overwhelmingly positive. Thank you, Casey. I appreciate your kind comment.
There was feedback about the feedback box, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knew about that. I told him during.
Yeah.
So.
What? You didn't get so no.
No, I got them. The survey box for me, at least, it would not go away. It just kept pestering me. I told it to go away multiple times, and it just kept coming back.
If you could send something out with the follow-up email, maybe that has everybody listed that people could mark.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Because I wasn't able to do any of the feedbacks.
Yeah, we'll definitely look into that. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I loved all the content that I was able to watch, and I'm sure I will get a lot out of the stuff I watch on the replays. So when will the replays be available, give or take?
I'm not sure yet. We have to. We're looking at it tomorrow. Grant has to handle that part.
Yeah.
So hopefully soon. I'm hoping immediately, but I'm not positive.
I mean, I figure it'll take a day or two to get everything uploaded and put wherever y'all are putting them for them to be
just
accessible.
put Alex in charge of it and it'd be out already.
All right, I know. That guy's
it would be products. He would make it into NFT and you'd be good.
Yeah.
It'll be on the boot camp.
Pineapple pizza NFT.
Oh, yes. Yes. That's your NFT right there, Colin.
Yeah.
You guys are dead to me. You're all dead to me.
Hey, listen, you didn't come into the room. I was the one that got
We took one for the team. He was bullied by proxy.
I told you he was a hero.
Yeah.
taking a bullet for you.
So during the round table, Marshall Silver said so he was having just a frank discussion, but I was like, man, that's a good skit. And he was talking about I can't remember what was surrounding the conversation, but it was having somebody mimic him. And I was like, ooh, what a skit that would be.
Oh yeah, that was funny. The translator.
Yeah, the translator. What if you put a translator in there in back like Lisa, where you would be or something? Now you have a translator opposite side of you who is, following your body movements, your hand gestures. And, you know what I'm saying? And or the hypnotist.
When he was in Taiwan.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, because somebody mimicking Marshall, there was a Saturday Night Live skit. That's how you know you've made it. If you've been Saturday Night Live, you have made it.
But that would be a good skit to take somebody and like, you're going to follow me around, but you're going to be
one of the volunteers. Your job is to
mimic everything. You are the show. You're the hypnotist.
And you're going to follow me around and do what I do.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen similar things where you're a student in school and you're mimicking the teacher, and those bits are funny.
Yeah, when they make faces.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm not talking about like actually mimicking, so yeah, you can definitely do that.
One time holding a 4-year-old's hand because both of his parents wanted to volunteer and he wasn't going, or his mom wanted to volunteer and he wasn't going to leave her side. So he was my assistant. I held his hand throughout the show.
Awesome.
There you go.
I said, I'll make sure he doesn't go anywhere. And then she didn't have to worry.
I think the thing that struck me from the summit were the number of actual human moments that, especially when everybody was at the round table and just, doing a quick meet and greet, and haven't seen you in so long, I haven't met you yet. Those types of connections I think were pretty genuine.
Who is that?
That was Joe.
It was not Joe.
The other Joe.
Oh, the other Joe. Okay.
How many people ended up being registered for the summit?
That's a good question.
Are you able to disclose that, Jim?
Yes, I'm happy to. Yeah, the last. God, I want to say I can't tell you specific perfectly, but the last count on Stripe, I believe, was around 60.
Okay.
And then we had Zoom registration open today, so those tickets went directly to Zoom, and I don't know if or how many we got on that yet.
I know I waited till the last minute, but it wasn't quite the last minute, I guess, because I went to Stripe. So
yeah, good.
So there were 83 people in the room today. There were 80 is what I saw yesterday.
Oh yeah, I should specify there was those were paid. I'm paid attendance. Attendance, and then we had about 30 speakers. Yeah.
Okay.
Chat box.
I never saw John Cerbone's name on the menu. So
that was a huge F up on my part. I missed it, and you know what? We were in such a rush to get things done in this last part. I'm glad we've got almost a year to plan it this time, because it was really like 8 weeks for us this time. I effed up. I didn't put him on the schedule the first time. And then I got him on the schedule, but then when Grant asked me for the schedule to put him into the Zoom, I sent the old schedule. And so he was not on there. And man, I am just crushed, man. I feel terrible. Just awful.
Because you're like,
So-
I can't come. I'm in his room. And I was like, where is his room? We can't see him.
Yeah, it was terrible. So
Okay to
it's
blame
definitely
Sean for that.
no, it was all me. And next time it'll be double and triple checked. You know, it's kind of like, I was like, oh no, I'm sure I've got it. I feel, I am mortified, and I hope he'll forgive me someday, but I feel absolutely terrible.
That's okay. I just want to tell you how to pronounce my name.
Oh, Kucinich, right?
like a raccoon that's shaving.
Misty night.
Yeah. That's the So it's actually Coon Chick.
Kunachik?
No.
No A.
Hand.
Coon like a
Hold
raccoon.
on, I have to
Chick
pick-
like razor blades.
I have to pick up my chicken. I'll be right back.
Chick, see, chick.
A chick. He has to go pick up a chicken.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, my good friend Lisa Coon." I don't even know what the hell he said.
I laughed my ass off.
That wasn't an accident. He was doing that for comic relief. Like
No.
that. He's a comedian, don't you know?
Everybody looks
Thank
at my
you.
name and sees 9 consonants and 2 vowels and goes, "Nope."
Okay, tell me again, Lisa. I'm listening.
Okay, so raccoon, coon,
Okay. Yep.
chick, razor blades.
That's it. Kunchik?
Coon chick.
Okay, coon, chick.
Jim.
No, not Jim.
He's picking up his order.
Lisa Kunchik.
Coon,
Not
chick,
coon chick. Chick.
like razor
Yeah,
blades,
like the razor blade.
Kunchik. Kunchik.
like chick centers where they used to snap you a rubber band.
Oh my God, the thumbnail's coming together for the video this week. Keep going.
A
You're gonna find
raccoon.
a raccoon
A
shaving on
raccoon, a pilot, Dolly can make it. A raccoon, chick razors, and a big bucket of chicken.
I'm making a thumbnail right now.
Send it over to me.
It's a raccoon eating a big bucket of chicken. That's it.
Yeah, or he's wearing it on his head, a KFC hat, and he's eating the chicken.
Like little beard goatee thing. With the
Oh,
goatee.
that's the best. Yeah.
Who has
A
mint?
raccoon looks kind of hypnotic.
Yes,
Coon
Coon
chick.
chick.
Coon
Kunchik.
chick.
Yes.
And I said, oh my God, I said Kucinich. That's like
Yeah,
so
like-
odd. You're like, who the fuck is this bitch?
Like, she sounds fancy.
Or as Colin said, Misty Night.
Yeah, and that is why some of us need a stage name.
And that's why some of us need a stage name. Yes.
Well, Jonathan Royale, I was surprised at his name. Jonathan Royale, obviously a stage name, but then his regular name is not hard to say. But I guess it's just not flashy.
Well,
Is he Alex Smith?
he's I
Yes.
suppose he's Alex William Smith. Alan always goes
William
down
Smith. Yeah.
with the same initials. So
I was making a collage earlier of the pictures I was cutting out, checking on Lisa, what she was doing over
that's what
there.
he's texting me. He's like, "What are you doing?" He's
Hey,
like, "What are you
Scott,
doing?"
check your DMs.
All right.
All right,
You
pressing
wanna share
on.
with the class? You didn't bring it up to share with the class,
What's that? Oh,
Colin.
Say again.
Did you didn't bring enough to share with the class?
Um,
I'm thinking this is on Facebook, you're saying?
yeah, on Facebook.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm headed that way.
Because I don't think Zoom will let me send images
Send this particular image anyway.
or any image.
Oh my God. Why can't you? Oh my God. Why can't you? I'm going to see if I can incorporate that. I'm going to see if I can incorporate that.
Yeah.
Like this thumbnail is going to get me kicked off of YouTube.
Oh, no, don't do that. Is the raccoon wearing a corset? That's
No, but that's the only thing that's not going on here.
Raccoon should have some tarot cards.
where's your beaver?
Mrs. Cleaver. It's how's the beaver, Mrs. Cleaver?
No, that was someone's answer to you have a power animal. What is your animal? She said, I'm a beaver.
Yeah, I totally cut the short for Lisa and everything, put it together so that because Alan's reaction to this incident was absolute comic gold.
It was. It's the only time he's ever like lost it so bad that he had to leave stage.
Yeah.
Except for when the iPod went on shuffle. That
I mean, you gotta admit, man, he's just up there and just he's sticking to the script, man. All right, well, show us your beaver.
oh yeah.
And then he realized what he said.
He turned about 4 shades of red.
Oh yeah, it was great.
It was great. Looks like I should throw that clip in.
So was that a part of your HR rated class today?
I should have done samples, right? Be careful what you say.
I wanted to tell you that I understood your title right away.
Thanks.
So it wasn't that muddled for me anyway.
Well, people that have worked in the corporate world, I think there's a different set. But the fact that somebody thought it was R-rated, that probably didn't hurt my attendance.
No, I went in going, wow, that's weird. Missy's going R-rated. Okay.
It's a shaved raccoon. It's perfect.
Colin, to share pictures on Zoom, you just drag and drop them on the chat.
Okay. Well, that was on my phone, and so.
Okay. Yeah, I can see the issue.
I threw up in the cocktail hour chat. I threw a picture of Alan in a tutu in a rainbow.
Oh, okay.
Rainbow.
I forgot to post this one when Jim was here. We should get him this T-shirt.
Oh, geez, that's a link, not a picture, but that's cool.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh wow, no, that's intense. He's still here. Let me grab that picture.
Oh, that's really wrong. That's really
and incoming.
You couldn't wear it, but
no pun intended. Let's watch him for his reaction.
I don't think
he's like a statue.
You're gonna make him cry.
I'm triggered. I'm reporting you.
You're triggered. Go now. Go to your happy place.
I'm offended. So I have a funny story. As I'm picking up my chicken, the guy's going, "We don't have an order for Jim," and I'm like, "God dang it!" Because I went to the wrong KFC the first time. There's 2 like a mile apart. So I'm like, it says Jim, and I'm looking all through my stuff, and all of a sudden I go, "Oh, Pretty Boy," and he goes, "Oh, we got that order." Because every time,
Pretty Boy.
whenever I sign up for apps like that or mail lists or something, I put Pretty Boy, and so
that way you know exactly where the junk mail is, huh?
Alan
exactly
tells people that his name is Nancy. And there was somebody at the storage unit that like he had only seen once like 5 years ago, and then he ran into them again and they're like, Nancy. So yeah, things like that work, but as long as you answer.
Memorable.
Yeah, as long as you answer to.
I think if I was introduced to Alan as Nancy, it'd probably be memorable.
Yeah.
I can see that. I can see how that might happen.
Oh my God.
I did notice in both Steve's presentation and Adam's presentation that my forthcoming product on how to make hypnosis recordings is probably going to have a decent amount of audience.
Oh my gosh, you think? That doesn't, and by the way, Casey, that doesn't stop me from we'll get together here and we'll do some audio stuff.
I'm gonna be spending
Yay.
a bunch of time this next week, polishing up the script library. So I'm aiming to have everything ready to go live by the end of the month or no later than like April 15th.
I'm not sure how to put it onto my website. And like, what is that? How do you
How
sell
to-
it on your website?
Well, that'll be covered in my course, but there's lots of
Oh.
different ways that could be accomplished.
Oh.
It can be as simple as here's the thing, pay for it through PayPal and get redirected to a download link.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be a piece of cake, Casey. Check your
Yeah.
chats.
Cool. So
It's not-
Adam
it's not
has a
super hard.
podcast and YouTube, and he also sells audios. So is it
Yeah.
all the same thing? Is he selling the audios that he's putting on YouTube?
He may be
He's
making
selling parts of them.
different
He said
audios.
he's productizing them. So he might
Yeah.
he does a recording. He turns down the person in the session, and then
Yeah.
he slices and dices that up into products sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he doesn't, I mean, he doesn't sit in a studio and record anything. This is just him live, somebody else in the chair.
Yeah,
And
which
he's-
I mean, if it's working for him, great.
Genius.
That's wonderful. But
Yeah.
I think that method will work really well for Lisa because she has a problem hypnotizing a microphone. I do not have any problem hypnotizing a microphone. So I think that method of making hypnosis audio products is so painfully inefficient that
Yeah,
it would
sound like
bore
that.
me to tears.
Which,
Trying
where
to
he does it?
Trying to make a audio product out of a session that I did with a client.
a live session.
A lot of mine are interactive. You know, it's like, are you inside or outside? Alone or with,
Yeah,
those
you
questions.
can't-
Yeah.
That's not how you, for.
Yeah. So for one, yes, that wouldn't work well.
You don't,
But
you're not there to
but
get
yeah.
their response and follow through.
a lot of people have a major hang up with scripts, but if you're making hypnosis audios, why the hell would you not be using a script?
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
You
sure.
don't have
You can
content
wing
to
it.
work.
I'm more
Yeah.
of a freestyle kind of guy.
I mean, you can wing it. You can wing it for sure.
Yeah. I think there's
You
a
know?
place for both, right? Like
There
you can
is.
do it off the top of the dome.
There
but you're-
absolutely isn't. And some people are
Yeah.
really good at doing it off the top of the dome. And some people just aren't.
I
Yeah.
think
I bet-
there's a middle ground.
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
Absolutely.
here's what it is that I think that if you understand the process of induction, you understand and you know what the specifics of the induction are you're going to use, what the process you are going to use for suggestion and what the specific suggestions are going to be and exactly how you to bring them out, then you don't need a script.
Yeah,
And-
absolutely.
And so it's like, to me, it's not so much about winging it. It's about having that voice that's authentic and that you've got the flow. And I think that's the big difference.
And there is a skill to sight reading. There is a skill to sight reading, and some people just don't have that skill or haven't
Yeah, well,
developed that skill. And that's a whole different thing.
that's what's I think been holding me back is that it's hard for me to sight read, but I think I just need to try to do smaller chunks and then edit out the spaces.
So have you ever considered having it play through an earbud?
Yes.
You know, you could have the audio play through an earbud to you, and you could have it, say you use a text to speech, right?
Yep.
And you have a pause button. So you have it read a line, pause, do your recording, read a line, pause, do your recording.
That never
Yeah.
occurred to me.
Done it where I had a live session that I recorded, and after, because I'm off the top of my head with live people too, and I was like, that was really good. So I put it on in my earbud, and then I just repeated it into the microphone so that I was actually telling myself, and I could follow the pauses because I had just done this live with somebody. So my pauses and my timing, I felt good about.
Yeah, and it takes a little bit of skill, a little bit of practice to get your recordings to where they're paced correctly. I used to use, I don't really do it anymore. I used to use a visual metronome on my computer, so I would keep my pacing slower, because I had the visual to keep me paced out right. Because there is a tendency to read faster, because all of our schooling was focused on read faster, read faster, read faster, read faster. And when you're doing a sight reading or for a hypnosis audio, that's the last thing you want to do is read faster.
James, there is an app that I have on my iPhone and iPad called Prompt Smart. And I have the pro version. There's also a light version, and prompts, and I think it's available on Android as well. And it's basically a teleprompter on your screen. You can have it set up so that it is videoing while.
That's what I did when I did my videos that I put on YouTube, but I felt like you could see my eyes going back and forth.
Right. Well, if you're doing a video, it might matter, but if you're just recording an audio, it's not really that big a deal.
Right.
So you can use
for you, have the words be smaller so that you're not.
I did. I had them really narrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not doing a lot of back and forth.
Finish what you were saying, Colin.
Sorry.
So one of the things that Prompt Smart does, at least on the pro version, is that the speed it goes at is not what you tell it to begin with. The speed it goes at is based on the speed you are talking, and it is using its vocal recognition.
That's a nice feature.
What you're doing. And so as far as having a teleprompter that for really super inexpensive, it's a great option.
Now, if you want a teleprompter for even more stupid inexpensive, get yourself a plain text document, make it full screen, and make the text as big as you need to be able to read it, and then scroll your mouse wheel. Your mouse wheel being scrolled isn't going to make enough noise that it's going to be heard on your recording. So you can do that. I wouldn't do well. That's your problem. You got a 2-finger on those mouse pads. I think. I don't know if you'd hear that or not, but yeah, you could scroll your mouse wheel and be just fine. I think.
I was using SpeakFlow and it would not flow. Like I had to mouse the whole time. And so I felt like I was moving the computer and the desk, and it's just maddening.
Yeah.
I believe the free Prompt Smart version is voice activated as well.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a cool feature.
Yeah, I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah. Now, I'm assuming that's available on a computer too, right? Is that so?
I think it's for mobile devices.
So, James, are you PC or Mac? And then is the program PC or Mac or both?
Well, Prompt Smart is an app for mobile devices.
Yeah,
okay.
I could probably use it on an iPad. I'll have to check it out, but I have heard of the smart teleprompter. And I need to give it a try and just see, because I don't know if everybody knows, but I'm legally blind. So right here, everything's blurry, but my peripheral vision's fine. So that's why you don't see me like walking into things, and I could still do some sports.
Yeah,
I did something. I suddenly turn into like a guy from an old Western. I'm like, what do it say? I'm gonna put my X on it.
and I was aware of that. That's why I suggested text to speech through an earbud.
I love the earbud idea. I'm gonna have to try that, because I listen at high speed for some things, so I could probably listen a little faster than I would speak.
Yeah,
I just have to get used to that.
Yeah, and then that would make it something like you'd still have a little extra editing because of that, but we all have to.
What's coming in your ear too, so that you
yes, probably yeah. If I could pace it like Scott's pace, that would be really good.
Yeah, put it on like 0.75 versus the other way. Yeah, when I listen to affirmations now, I always 2-time speed them. I feel like it gives me a little more bypass of the critical factor, because I'm not actually like actively listening to it. And I just play.
That's interesting, because one of the things that's going to be in my course, you'll get a little free bait here, is one of the big things about recording affirmations is how do you record them so that they flow correctly as people expect them to. most affirmation audios and videos, essentially how you want to record it is you want to say the affirmation as you would say it, and then say it again, but in your head, so it's not recorded, and then leave about a half a second, because that gives the listener times to repeat the affirmation in their head or out loud as it's going.
Program myself like while I'm cleaning the house, like just
No, I get it. But that's
those two where you're repeating like, "Hi, good person," or whatever it is. The little 3-year-old gets up in the mirror and says.
But I decided that this was how I was going to record all my affirmations, because when I looked at all the most viewed videos on YouTube, this was the basic structure they had.
Okay.
They all had enough time for the affirmation to be repeated by the listener after each affirmation. And if they've got 24 million views, that must be a good way to do it.
I like the ones where there's like 4 different voices going all at the same time, like
You don't like them?
Because
you do? Me too.
I can't. I can't keep up with it, so I feel like that goes in. You got to vet it, of course. Don't just listen to random stuff. But when you have a migraine or something, that's something to play in the background. That you can just...
So you like the chorus style where they're not quite in sync, or like the Borg voice style where they're all being spoken at the same time, kind of the chorus effect.
One of mine that I really liked was there was multiple voices. There was like male voices, female voices, and it was like a cacophony. And
but were they basically synced in their timing?
No, it was just all
no. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Purpose, but it's like, because it was a male and a female, you weren't getting mixed up with who was saying what. But when we do dual inductions, we're not saying the same things. Like I'll be saying, going down, and he'll be just relax and let go. It's like we're both doing an induction, not necessarily synced. But I've done other ones where, it's like we've done in our practice groups where it's like one person says something and then the next person continues with it. And then, and it goes back and forth and around and around. So either way works. But just if I'm playing affirmations, I'm not trying to listen to them. I'm trying to make them more subliminal.
That's basically like the recording that's going to be made in my class at HTL. Basically, we're all going to write a script together. Like I'm gonna have some sections of it are already written, and we're just going to pick an induction, pick a deepener, pick an exduction. But the body of suggestions we're actually going to write in the class. And then I'm essentially going to use a karaoke software to project them on a screen, so we can all be timed at the same time, recording it through a single microphone in the center of the room.
So is it going to be like We Are the World?
I'm not familiar with that, but maybe it's going to be like the Borg. We are the Borg. It's like 1,000 voices all speaking the same thing
At the same time. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the idea.
That's going to sound trippy. That'll be interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that'll be a cool little class. And it's really a class about writing scripts, about scripting and making a recording and how much, because a lot of people, the reason they don't make recordings is they don't know where to start. And really what you got to do is you got to pull up to a microphone and start, because you're not going to learn the skill without sounding like shit for a little while first.
Oh yeah, I don't like the sound of my voice. It took me a year.
Yeah.
And now I can recognize.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I just said now I can actually recognize that was like, that's me.
Yeah.
You have an awesome voice, Lisa.
Thank you.
I was going to say, speaking of voices, Bob's been awful quiet.
Bob's been observing.
I'm listening. I am listening.
Watch out.
Bob's quiet. We just
Bob's
got
like a sniper.
analyzed.
The kill shot's coming. Watch out.
Speaking of quiet, I have to point out, during the summit, Sean spoke more than he has all of the hypno hustles in history. Okay, very interesting piece there.
Yeah,
Sean
right.
is
he did come out of his shell.
He really has been the last month and a half, 2 months. I've noticed that he's been on Jim's deals on Friday nights, and really sharing his contributions with the world, and I love it.
Yes,
Because like I've always said, when Sean speaks, you better listen, because he's not just running his mouth; he's saying something important. Unlike Joe. Barber, not kid. Make sure we get the right Joe called out. I saw Joe get like, what do you mean?
Those you're talking about those pearls of wisdom that just flow out.
Yeah, pearls. That's what we'll call it. Pearls.
You know what a pearl is? You know how it starts.
Well, maybe
a minor irritation.
So Bob, enlighten us.
How goes life?
A lot of traveling, that's for sure. Oh man. With my granddaughter's gymnastics, we just went to Virginia and we came back. We literally went there, went to the event, stayed overnight, and we came right back. So it was a 6-hour drive. And then the week before that, I was in Florida. I did the ICBH. Is that what it is? Did I say that right?
IBC. I can't say it either.
I didn't see you dancing on a table.
No, I wasn't dancing on a table, but I was dancing a little bit.
Yeah. ICBCH, guys, that's what it is.
Yeah.
ICBC, yeah. Someone was asking about that report, and none of us had been. So you're it.
Yeah,
How was it?
David was there. He might be able to elaborate a little bit more as well.
I did see David dancing. There is
yes,
photos
he was dancing.
I was dancing.
So let us know, David.
I sent out that as what professional hypnotists do during their conferences.
Yeah, we've done worse.
So takeaways from that conference?
Oh God, it was very good. Some of the best moments were with Bob, though, away from the actual presentations.
As I've said, Bob is one of the best kept secrets at HypnoThoughts.
Yeah. So the one thing I want to know, David, did you observe anybody crying while in Bob's presence?
No, actually, I mean, I wasn't with him all the time, but I probably could tell his wife that he was being a good boy. Yeah, he wasn't.
I think when we go out to conferences, we will have to assign him like, Secret Service guards so they can report back to us.
No, I think he was, nobody cried, but
yeah. Well, he'll do better next time.
You're right, yeah.
Exactly.
You get kicked out of the restaurant, it's good.
Excuse me?
You didn't get kicked out of a restaurant.
No. I didn't get kicked out of any restaurants.
We had the host. I walked up and said to him, "You're a movie star. Look at those glasses. You're amazing." And you were there, David, but you got to see the tail end of it. Mm-hmm. And I said, I know you can dance. I've seen you before. And he starts dancing. And he is like dancing. And I said, I know you can too. And she joined in and they were both dancing. Tom was with me. And he's like, what's going on? I said, don't worry about it. Just go with it.
Okay, so
spontaneous flash mob.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, flash mob.
Not as many people as far as I could see, there wasn't as many people as it was last time. It seems like there was probably half.
Oh, I don't know.
I looked at the room. It looked like about 80 to 100.
I don't think it was half as much as last year. Although I don't know. In general, I thought it was really good. I mean, the ones that I saw were very focused. I think Karen Hand stood out the most for me. She's
one of my favorites.
Persuasive words, and which and she was good presenter. trying to think about the other people. I don't have.
I just
mine.
did a book cover for her while we were at this conference. They were saying, oh, you should just have Fiverr and hire somebody to make your book cover. And I was like, why don't you just IM me and we'll make it right now? And I made her a book cover while I was on this conference and I sent it to her. I was like, you can pay me in books. So.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And let's see.
She's amazing.
Yes.
She's a pretty good cat.
The
Yeah.
anxiety, Dan, the anxiety guy was good. Very
I
good
like Dan.
speaker.
Oh,
adorable.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was great.
Dan Candell.
Yeah, Dan's great.
Yeah, yeah.
If you want to hear hypno horror stories, that guy.
Did you ever turn the recording back on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
There we go. Just make sure I don't say anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Make sure. Yeah. There we go.
Let's see what.
Yeah, hypno horror stories is off camera. They have to be here live for those kind of things.
Let's see.
Unless
wasn't a-
Colin's telling them.
who else?
Colin will just tell them.
I didn't find much like I did at Hypnothoughts.
Smaller.
Really, that's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, I had last year was Chase Hughes. It was a really good event last year, so I really got a lot out of it. This year, not so much.
Well, you know, there comes a point when you've got enough education where the likelihood that you're going to get a whole lot of education out of these events just kind of diminishes. And you're really more going for the networking than you are for the education.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
How do you talk
absolutely
to-
true. I mean, I even I, you know, and I've only been doing this for a couple of years now. You know, it's sort of like, oh yeah, I've heard this guy's, you know, speech before, and
Well,
he's
and-
basically doing the same, you know, same
Yeah.
speech and the same pitch.
I don't understand why people don't develop new things to talk about. And you know, there's something to be said for it. You know, I've been doing this for 20 years and this is what I do and this works. So yeah, maybe you should do this. I mean, there's some value in that for sure, but I agree. You learn, well, okay, I've seen this talk before. I don't need to go to that a third time. You know, I got suckered in the second time, but I don't need to go on again.
And if I feel if I learn a couple of techniques, even small little things that make me just that much better than the people that don't go there, then I've gotten my money's worth out of it.
It's that accumulation. But honestly, I think the same thing, but I think it about the people, about the networking. It's for me, it's about meeting like-minded people and expanding the network of hypnotists I'm interacting with. Because yes, I met Jim at a conference. Great story. We'll have to tell it to you sometime. But I didn't learn much from him the day I met him. But I've learned so much from him in the years since. You know, because it's more about, for me, meeting the people. And you know, I could say the same thing about pretty much everybody in this room. I've learned from everybody here.
Even if you've been in it a long time, sometimes you forget something.
Yeah.
And someone has learned it, or they're very detailed on it. You're like, oh yeah. Oh yeah. I know how to do it.
Like I always say, Lisa's forgot more about hypnosis than I'll ever know. Yeah.
I've had people come up to me. It's like, oh, do you know XYZ technique? And I was like, no, I've never heard of it. Can you describe it to me? And then they go, oh, it's this. And I go, oh yeah, well, we used to call that ABC. So yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know, like we go to Hypnothoughts and it was Scott and I in the event room working stuff out, not in a classroom, right? So part of it is the hallways, you get a much more in-depth and honest education.
I agree.
A lot of times you do. But again, I always apply the problem statement, right? What am I trying to fix about me or my business? How am I going to apply this to what I'm doing or to my journey? And then, all right, yep, this makes sense. Let's apply it there. And then let's hear what the solutions are. I have to solicit 20 people to find a handful of solutions that I want to look at. So that's my approach anyway.
Yeah, I mean, David and I got to connect. We normally don't when we go to these events. It's quick, but we got to spend a lot of time, and I really enjoyed getting to know David. I mean, it was a gift, really. I mean, so that was, if there was any takeaway, that was a big one. And then I had Tom there too, as a friend of mine, and we got to meet and we got to talk, and so
Same here.
Yep. And we
Yeah,
see
I-
your, we see your
He
comment,
totally
Jim.
fixed my wife.
what's that?
Jim,
When you
Oh,
say,
He totally fixed my wife.
And
and she didn't cry, so it's
And
good.
she didn't cry. No, she didn't cry.
oh,
Did
I
he
did.
fix your wife, or did he adjust you so your wife is tolerable?
Uh,
yes, and
Tolerant.
we had some fun. We definitely had some fun.
She made his wife more tolerant, not tolerable. Got that?
Hey, either way
Depends on
works.
how you look at it, Lisa.
Let's see. I'm trying to see.
We're all crazy.
Mhm.
I have a video. It's a very quick video. So I started this thing. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue it or not. We're going to see, but it seems like it. I like it. The theme, the hook, and I think I talked to David about it when we were there at the conference. What is holding you back? That's the whole thing. What is holding you back? What is holding you back in your dream? What is holding you back in a relationship? What is holding you back in your business decisions? What is holding you back in so many different things? And what I'm doing is I'm just interviewing people and saying, what's holding you back? If you were to really go forward and move forward, what would it look like? So I've got one, it was weight, which was my sister. I interviewed her. I interviewed Tom. I interviewed my granddaughter, which was fun. And it's pretty interesting because I really try to simplify it. And what I'll do is I'll pick up the hot words that they're saying. I'll bring the hot words out, and then I'll also do some embedded commands so that I can get to where they're thinking and how they can use the tools with the questions I'm asking in such a way to be able to change the way they're thinking. I think that's the way I put it. Yeah.
Bob, the whole PI acronym. I don't
Persuasion and
remember.
Expert.
Yeah, no, persuasion and influence epiphany.
Epiphany.
Yeah, because that's what you just described. You just described a process of bringing someone else to an epiphany.
Yeah, I mean, when I originally brought it up, the comment was, well, it's kind of negative. And I said, yeah, but it's catchy. What's holding you back?
Yeah.
Because it's very mysterious, but it's also gets you thinking. And I mean,
what's the thing that if you were to let go of it, you'd be able to move forward?
Oh, there you go. What's the thing? Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I probably heard you say that.
I'm sure. It sounded familiar. All right, let's go with this. So basically what I just described. So this is Tom. He did allow me to share it. He signed off so I can use anything we do.
All right.
So
share with audio.
I did. He is a hypnotist in Philadelphia, and I'm training him on my side with the conversational stuff. So this is one of the reasons why we did the video as well. I'm going to send him over what I have. Let's make sure the volume's up. All right, here we go.
Here's the thing. Let's talk about what holds you back. You know, what holds you back in life? If there was one word that you could come up with that would really make the most impact in your life, what would it be that what really holds you back? One word.
Aggressiveness.
Aggressiveness. Okay. And if aggressiveness, what would that achieve for you?
Well, I guess if I was more aggressive in everything I did, then maybe I could achieve more.
Okay. And explain to me that more. What does that more mean to you?
I don't know if you guys picked that up. So that word, there was a hot word, more. So I pulled that out right away. And then I'm going to start putting the pieces together a little bit. So I'm already, I had talked to him before, but I'm in his head right now, pretty much.
Doing things, not caring what other people think about.
Okay, so doing things, and that becomes more. Notice I didn't repeat the negative.
Yeah.
What else becomes more? You're doing things.
Just have more than the current status.
Okay, so having more in current status, and if you do that, what do you see and how can you achieve more by doing that?
But as you and I have talked before, it all comes down to more money.
Okay, so it's more money, but that's the effect, right?
Yeah.
But really, what can you do to get to that more money?
Be more aggressive.
You can be more aggressive, right? And achieve more. And when you achieve more, you can be aggressive and you can get where you need to go. Correct.
Right. I wouldn't be held back.
So you wouldn't be held back.
Right.
So when you think about that now, would you still feel like you're still being held back?
I think the lack of my aggressiveness holds me back.
Okay. So let's imagine for a moment, if we take aggressiveness and we look at that in such a way that it would move you forward. And that moving forward now, if that holding you back is no longer holding you back, but you're still you, what would happen if you would have that?
I'd move forward.
You would move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I noticed in your shoulders as well, they just displayed that. Because you felt that. And you know what that means. You know how that reacts and how you react in such a way. So that you can, and it won't hold you back.
Okay, so I'm assuming you're looking for feedback, correct?
Sure.
Okay, so on your video framing, this was obviously you had a tripod, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay, I would have framed this so that the camera was slightly looking up at y'all instead of looking down at y'all. Just because it would have been more visually appealing that way.
Yeah, I really, and this film especially, I kind of screwed up with it.
Right.
I knew I did, but
And
I was catching.
That's one of the things when we start doing this stuff, you know, we kind of have to wear a bunch of different hats. You know, you probably weren't expecting to be a filmographer, you know, but we've got to do at least, you know, we've got to learn at least the bare minimums on some of these skills, or we just have to hire other people to do them, whichever one we need to do. And, you know, in this case, you can do some minor stuff, you know, follow the rule of thirds if you can, which, I mean, you were definitely in the lower third of the screen, but I would say put yourself in the upper third or the middle third at least. But yeah, other than that, like the framing wasn't the most visually appealing on the video. I did like how those mics do a really good job of like thresholding in and out, but you were clearly in a noisy environment because even when they hit that threshold and it came in, they picked up a lot of background noise.
Yeah, we're in the pool area, so
yeah, if you have any way to clean that up, that'd be great before you were to release this to the public.
Yeah,
and then if you're going to use this as a training video, those spots where you gave us information, I would put those on the video as call outs with text and, you know, maybe pause it for a brief moment when you pop up that, you know, notice the more, you know, like the more, just some visual elements on the screen to let people know like what's going through your head while you're having this, you know, because unless you're going to do like a voiceover, giving these kind of instructions, like what you just did with us. You know?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to do that. I just wanted to give you a quick, you know, just a quick example of
the technique's great. I liked how you used the more in there. Snuck that in.
Yeah.
Well, what is your process if can be easily explained for how you go about identifying hot words.
You
A
just
pause
hear 'em.
before. Go ahead, Scott. I know,
No,
because I know you
I-
read the book too.
You hear them, you know, we mark them out in our speech. It's like the whole exercise of, I didn't say he stole the money.
There it
like
is.
the hot word is say.
Yeah.
You know, like they're marked out in people's speech, and you kind of got to train yourself to listen for them. Is that right, Bob?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. And sometimes it's just so subtle, and they may say it 2 or 3 times, and but you know, I'm hunting for them.
I've also seen other people call them trance words.
So,
which
Bob,
book are you
were
talking about?
But Bob, you were saying you listen for a pause before or after?
It's very quick. It's seconds, and maybe even a second.
It's milliseconds.
And they'll emphasize it in such a way that I'll pick it up right away and hear it.
Can we rewatch it and you point it out?
Sure. Absolutely.
And the book he's talking about, James, is the book he's writing on his techniques. He sent me a draft copy of the first, I don't know, maybe third of it.
The one with the Gandalf cover?
Yes.
Yes.
You shall not pass. I like that one.
Okay, here we go. Let's go back.
Here's the thing. Let's talk about what holds you back.
So first of all, do you like the fact that I said one word? It gets people really thinking. Because
yeah. Here's the thing, the one word part. Yes.
Why do I do that? Does anyone know?
Well, because it focuses in on the actual issue.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else?
Forces a transderivational search.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tap into their unconscious mind as fast as I can.
Yeah.
You know, what holds you back in life? If there was one word that you could come up with that would really make the most impact in your life.
Now, did you notice I said really? Would? Right. I'm saying it to him now because I'm trying to really get him into a trance, and I'm trying to really dig deep quickly into his head as well.
What would it be that what really holds you back?
One word. Aggressiveness.
Aggressiveness. Okay. And if aggressiveness, what would that achieve for you?
Well, I guess if I was more aggressive in everything I did.
So did you hear it was quick? More.
Yeah.
Then maybe I could achieve more.
There it is again.
Yeah.
Twice. See how it's a hot word? Does it make sense to you, Colin?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and explain to me that more. What is it?
Now, who am I really talking to? I'm not. I'm talking to his unconscious mind.
Yeah, subconscious. Yeah.
Right. I am literally talking to his unconscious mind, because it's weird. Because when I do it, some people even ask me, because I'll ask questions and they'll go, "Who are you talking to?" I'll say, I'm talking to your unconscious mind. They kind of think I'm crazy, but it's a quick and easy way to get in and really start getting information.
What does that more mean to you?
Doing things, not caring what other people think about.
Okay, so doing things.
What was the hot word there? Shit, I went too fast. Things.
Caring. Yeah, thanks. Okay.
Things. Right? So we're piecing it together. His unconscious mind is
More
thinking
things.
more things. Yes.
Things. And that becomes more. What else becomes more? You're doing things.
Now you see how open-ended that is? It's not targeting anything, because I want to see what I can get. So I'm always I'm asking an open-ended question. It's so open-ended that he could come up with something else. And then I'm thinking, okay, here's where the unconscious mind is doing. So I'm looking for a pattern in the conversation, and I'm looking for how he operates and what he does in his own head.
Just have more than the current status.
Okay. So having more in current status, and if you do that, what do you see and how can you achieve more by doing that?
And see, I just put it all together for him and repeated it back to him to see what I can get.
But as you and I have,
Did you see the head just go up and down slowly?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not a conscious movement, sorry. That's not a conscious movement. That's an unconscious movement. Just like a hand going up slow instead of fast, you know, when it goes up fast, it's a conscious movement. So that was my check-in, calibrating with him. I knew that I got to his unconscious mind by doing that.
talked before, it all comes down to more money.
Okay, so
That's
it's
the
more
objective.
money, but that's the effect, right?
Yeah.
So more money, right? So I called him on it, saying that's your conscious mind taking over, saying, no, come on now. That's the effect. Let's go back to where you were.
But really, what can you do to get to that more money?
Be more aggressive.
You could be more aggressive, right? And achieve more. And when you achieve more, you can be aggressive and you can get where you need to go. Correct.
Right. I wouldn't be held back.
So you wouldn't be held back.
Right.
So when you think about that now, would you still feel like you're still being held back?
Anybody see anything there?
I was looking for the shoulders, but
Okay. But I'm also saying now, which is trying to keep the present moment at the same time to see what I can get and what I can take with what he's got and trying to translate how he's processing all this.
I think the lack of my aggressiveness holds me back.
Okay. So let's imagine for a moment, if we take aggressiveness and we look at that in such a way that it would move you forward.
See, I wasn't totally convinced his unconscious mind was using that in a positive way. So I had to put a spin on it to see if I could and whether it was going to be accepted or not. Did you guys want me to keep going on this? Because I know you
yes.
Okay. Steve.
Did you get what you were looking for there, Colin? The clarification on
Yeah,
on
I
how
got the clarification. Yeah, I'm just just taking this in because there's a few other things I'm picking up on.
Awesome.
Yeah, do you want to throw in right away before I keep going?
Yeah, and I'm going to use a word, but before I use it, I want to put it into context because a lot of people consider it to be a bit of, a lot of negativity around it. The best sales professionals I've ever been around, ever met in my life were Cold War era, not War on Terror era, but Cold War era U.S. Army interrogators. And I saw these guys work. I saw them doing an awful lot of what we do today because they were absolute masters at building rapport. And I would sit there, I would watch them getting people to give up all kinds of things, everything from their freedom to their friends to what they thought they believed in. And one of the interesting things is watching Tom here, some of his physical reactions and voice feel an awful lot like some of the people that I watched being interrogated. It's like just watching him kind of searching in his mind, almost looking for an out. And then once you get about here, he's like, he's found it. It's like you've offered him a path of freedom. And there's this huge connection, there's this bond. And it's like, it's almost like I'm having a flashback watching the two of you here.
In a good way?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I was saying I kind of was hesitant to say it, but because like these are people who I have a lot of respect for. what the job that they did. And they have influenced me to this day. These weren't people who were beating the hell out of folks and waterboarding them, not that type of folks. No, these are people who were patient, they were kind, and they had a job to do, and they did it to the best of their ability with really good intentions. And so no, please don't take this by me comparing this.
No, it's okay.
Get the emotions of those moments back as I'm watching it. That's not a negative at all. That's kind of blows me away, honestly.
Yeah, because okay, so since we're professionals in a group, let's just say that it did come to that, right? Let's just say that you did say, it really brought back a memory of a bad memory. So of course, I'm going to flip it while I'm talking to you with good intentions. Because what we'll do then is I'll go back and start, just to show you guys, I would go back to, okay, give me the story again, but let's break it down a little bit. And then of course, I'm going to reframe with you and look at it in a different way so that you can see it in a way that it's a good feeling, or I don't continue. More than likely, I would probably just talk to you about it and make sure that we could have a complete understanding, because I don't want to lose rapport, because we know that having rapport and keep gaining rapport along the way is always key to everything. Now, I've been working with Tom for months, so we're doing, and I have another video. It's too long. I won't go into it, but I literally opened up all the possibilities and gave him a really, really big tool, and he gave me permission to use it because he does feel like he's holding himself back. So we went in deep, and I recorded it while we were there, and he was really grateful. So this was before that. But thank you, Colin, for that input.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. And it's like at this moment is where I'm really feeling like there's this bond that it's like, yeah.
Well, we started out and he really felt like he was holding himself back. There was a lot of resistance. I've been working with him. There's a lot of resistance. And then I'm like, okay, well, let's look, I'm in your world. So what's your world look like? And what tools do we have that we can work with more, moving forward, and all those things? And how can we make it look like you want it and be able to move forward with it in such a way that it feels like it's you that did it?
And that moving forward now, if that holding you back is no longer holding you back, but you're still you, what would happen if you would have that?
That was mind bending. I was trying to be careful, because you got to be careful with mind bending. I don't want to throw him into confusion state, because you do that to get him out of his head if he's struggling, but you don't want to do it while he's putting things together. We don't want to confuse him by any means. So I had to keep it as structured as possible.
I'd move forward.
You would move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
Now, was that sincere? Did you guys see that? Yeah, it was. His shoulders dropped. You couldn't see it, but his shoulders dropped. He's really thinking. A little bit of micro expression in there too, contentment. So he was definitely moving in the right direction.
Notice in your shoulders as well, they just displayed that because you felt that. And you know what that means. You know how that reacts and how you react in such a way so that you can, and it won't hold you back.
Yeah, can.
Who's that young girl? Where'd she come from?
Young girl?
That was amazing, Bob.
Most people still recognize me. It was interesting because and I know this is just a personal thing, I would have took the instructions of what's something that's holding you back, not to be the tool that he needs. You know, he said aggression, and it turns out that he needs to be more aggressive. Whereas, and I think that's a cue into his personality. He's an away from, I guess.
Away from, yeah.
Because most of the time, if you ask somebody what's holding you back, they would have said, "Oh, my laziness, or my complacency, or this or that." And he went like to what he did need to do versus not what he didn't need to do. So
Yeah,
that was
it's
interesting. You just rolled with it. You're like, "Yep."
I love the responses so far. They've been pretty amazing. Because when you say one word, and I've got a bunch of them, so I'm not sure how I'm going to structure it, but like my sister's was, with her, she was, I recorded it for weight, so she said, what held her back? And she said, myself, and so it was, then we went through the whole thing with that, which was really interesting. So, and everyone has a different picture in their head of what's actually holding them back. And I think it's really interesting what information I'm getting.
I was going to say the cool thing about the one word also is it kind of disarms you because it's just one word. So how much am I really giving up? Even though there's a bunch in there.
Point, Joe.
Yeah, and you're literally all I need is one word. Because you notice in the very beginning what I did with it? I took that word and then I spread it out and said, this is, and that's really tough. I got to tell you, that is really tough to do. To be able to take one word and be able to almost plant a whole field and get a garden out of it.
Yeah, I actually find it quite interesting that he chose the word aggressive and not something more synonymous with that. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what that really means.
He struggles. Yeah, so he struggles of taking that next step. We talk about a lot, like for one of the things that we were talking about, and we talk a lot. And I said, it's important that we clean out our closet before we're actually helping others. Some people don't believe that. Some people do believe that. I think it's important because if we're not cleaning out our closet, as Eminem says, in our own heads, when we go to do therapy with someone, we're really putting ourselves at risk for triggers. Because if somebody talks about an abusive, abusing an animal or a child abuse or something, and all of a sudden, boom, I get triggered. Now I'm jumped in the ocean with them. I'm going to drown right along with them.
Yeah, you really have to be able to be non-judgmental, except that, of course, if they're talking about active abuse, then.
Well, yeah, and that's true, but every bad intention has good intention behind it. So you have to go behind the curtain and say, okay, I understand that and obviously I wouldn't go into this, but when a guy is out there killing someone because he feels that he's protecting all the 14-year-old boys, so this never happens to them. Right. That was something that I learned way in the beginning, and I could not wrap my head around that. I'm like, for every good intention, there's bad. I mean, for every bad intention, there's good. Oof, that's heavy. I don't know about that one. But then they started explaining all this, and that's when it got interesting. Because it's true. I mean, when you start to dig in and find out why
nobody thinks they're the villain of their own story.
Yeah, nobody wants to be the villain in their own story. Absolutely.
Yeah. And one of the things that the way you described where he's coming from, it sure sounded a lot more like what he wants is persistent, not aggressiveness. And so that's part of why I'm saying it's interesting to me. I'm curious
So-
why he chose that word. Because
So-
I'm betting that word is actually the one that really means what he wants it to mean. But it's something that's deeper there.
That's one of the things Bob talks about is you can't bring your own definitions of words in with you. You know, you've got to meet them.
I
because
understand.
Aggressive may mean something different to you than it means to him.
I understand that. I'm just saying that, hey, this is an interesting word. It's an interesting word for a man to use, because that he is using it can mean a host of different things. And what I'm saying is, I'm curious as to why he chose that particular word, especially in the context of how Bob just described it, where, well, it sounds like what he's really looking for is persistence, not aggressiveness.
Right. But so think of it like this, right? It's not aggressiveness as in I'm going to punch you in the face.
No.
It's aggressiveness as in I need to aggressively market my stuff.
I'm not hearing either of those.
Right. And I get that. I'm just saying those are two different
with
sides.
a blank slate.
Yeah.
I'm saying it is a loaded word for
Absolutely.
in 2023 for a man to use, not because of Me Too or anything else, but actually because of ways that men get hurt for not basically being more out there in some kind of manly. And so all I'm saying is there's something there that I think there's more, and I'm not judging. I'm saying I'm curious. I want to dig in further on.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that. I think had I been sitting there in Bob's shoes, I may have indeed spent some time figuring out what aggressive meant to him.
And then guiding him to perhaps a word that fits.
I don't have any problem with the word aggressive.
I don't
Right.
Unless that's not what he meant, but it is, I mean, one of the things we talked about in trans derivational search, you're bypassing the critical factor, so you're no longer talking to the 40-year-old guy.
Yeah.
You're now possibly talking to the scared 8-year-old who needed to be more aggressive. So we don't know where that's coming from.
And I can't put my own thoughts
Right. We can't.
That's why I'm repeating his words back to him to try and figure out how what that truly means. Just like an apple means to me to pick it up and eat it. An apple to him means his mother passing away, and she was picking apples for him, and now he's scarred for life.
Yeah, and I think by focusing on the more instead of the aggressive,
there you go.
You were able to make that. You were able to dig deeper into what that meant.
Yeah. Now I'm not going to show it, but tell me what you think this is better, because we changed it.
I mean, it's like when we know that everyone's your lab, right? You can experiment by just having conversations with individuals.
A little bit better.
Yes.
The framing and everything, is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So I just
but his posture he looks more. I might be projecting.
No, he
looks more relaxed now.
Well, because we went from that right over to here. We moved. We moved from that frame that we just did. This was the results.
This is also a good technique for doing video. When you're doing video out in the field with somebody and you have an opportunity to move to a different location easily, that's visually appealing if you're putting a video together.
Yeah, we did that. We moved. I won't go into this, but this is all about. So he wants to know, he's getting, this is long. So this is definitely could be a training in itself. His biggest thing was he is working with people. He worked with this one person and they came back and said it wore off. And he said, what do you do? How do you prevent that? So I gave a whole skit, 20 minutes long, on how you can actually prevent that from happening, so that when you're doing things they stick. So I went into it. I'm getting your curiosity. I watch everybody in you get the curiosity going a little bit, but I'll just play a very small bit of it because I don't want to tie up everybody's time and I know it's getting late. But I'm talking about future pacing and stuff. And trying to do some persuasion and influence, maybe in a conversation. I will do that tote. We talk about test, operate, test, exit. So I'm going to go in and start having the conversation again. Then I want to see what's happening, test to see whether, they're still having the same feeling if I've had a conversation with them. And then what I like to do is literally test them by taking them into the future and how that same situation that they were struggling with, now, how is it different?
Right.
So that's really key. So that's really what I'd like to do, because then we know in real world, it works.
Right.
And we know that when they're walking away, they feel good in a conversation, or they feel good in therapy, in a way that they know that in that 3 or 4 or 5 days, all of a sudden this stuff, whatever it is they call, is wearing off. Yes, we know that one size shoe doesn't fit all, right?
Right. Yeah.
So in your experiences, you say you are or you're not a future pacing, or you're just, and he says he's not. So, and I just break into it, a lot of the detail.
Yeah, I think you're getting a good collection of videos that you're going to have available for a training program.
Yeah.
I know that like what you're wanting to teach is not something that can be taught probably in a weekend class. It's going to take more than that,
Maybe a bit of it, pieces of it. I can.
Like you can teach the beginning concepts, but
right.
I really think, for one, in order to teach what you do, field exercises are going to be a requirement.
Mm-hmm.
Because so much of what you do is done in the field, not necessarily in the chair.
Right.
Not necessarily in the office. My opinion anyway.
That's true.
Can't wait for it, Bob. It looks amazing.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, that's what I had to share. So,
all right, I dropped some things in chat. So
yeah, I saw. It's Coon Chick, damn it.
I love it.
I'm gonna get out of here, so I'm gonna go spend some time with my wife, I think.
Yeah, I need to go get some sleep.
And me and you still on for sometime tomorrow, Steve? Sometime tomorrow afternoon, maybe?
Yeah, tomorrow afternoon.
I've got to go get the plans made for the recording booth. So I got all the parts in for the kit. So I got to go and make the plans for that. So
Raj, all right, catch up with me tomorrow afternoon.
Pictures and everything. All right, yeah, sounds good.
Awesome.
All right, see you guys
later.
Take care. So I did see Casey's comment. I don't know if she's still here. Did she take? Oh no, she's still here.
Her video's off, but I think she's still here.
Yeah, it says I would have used assertive. No one likes aggressive person. Interesting. But no one likes. So that's
aggressive. Like you're aggro right now. Back off.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, but those are your thoughts.
She's holding a knife.
I know. I'm thinking.
I went to the grocery store and listened to you guys while I was walking through the grocery store.
So I think remember what I was telling you before, be careful that you don't allow the stuff in your head become part of what they're experiencing, because it really is important, because that can really go sideways. I've done it many times and I have really made a bad impact on someone.
When I have
I don't do it anymore, but I'm very careful.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Scott, you were saying?
Yeah, when I've for lack of a better word, facilitated communication between partners and relationships, one of the biggest things is each partner allowing the other to speak. Like pretty much the only thing I do is what you're doing here, Bob. Like and let's clarify, what does this mean to you? You know, because that's the biggest problem is, okay, so I'm going to use an example, and we're going to get a little political here. But whenever you say the word capitalism, right? So on the political spectrum, people on the left hate capitalist. People on the right love capitalist, right? But the problem is they're using the words differently. People on the left, when they say capitalist, they're talking about the people who control the money and how they control it and manipulate markets, et cetera, et cetera. They hate capitalist. When the people on the right say they love capitalist, what they mean is they love business people who go out and strike their own way and make their own products and build their own lives based around providing services, right? And both of those are legitimate definitions of a capitalist, okay? But when they have the conversation, they never take the time to figure out what the other person means by the word capitalist. They just hear, I hate capitalist, and they just assume that that person's an idiot because they hate a person on the right. It's like, why do you hate capitalists? Capitalists are what makes the world go around. Like everything you have is based because a capitalist decided to make it, right? That's what they think, not realizing that the person on the right hates the capitalist the leftist is talking about just as much as the leftist does. You know, they don't like the manipulation of markets through money supply either, but they don't understand that they're talking about two different definitions of the word. Yeah, and you have the same problem in relationships. That's one of the things, like every time somebody says, well, what's the secret to a great relationship? Communication. But nobody ever teaches anybody how to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, and that's the dangers of assuming that your definition of a word is the same definition that's in their head when they say it. And even personally, like, we'll say a word one day and have one meaning for it, say the exact same word another day and it has a different meaning because it's based on context, you know. So
yeah, we have to be very careful. Like I said, I didn't want to add any more words to what he was doing, and I wanted to keep the flow going, but create a new path for him at the same time. And even I think Steve brought it up, or somebody I think it was Steve, brought it up how relaxed he is now. He just literally moved. All we did was move to a different position. And he's right.
Some of that is environment, and some of that is also camera positions.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it could have been the camera that made me feel that way, but he did look, he was kicked back before.
That was
he
James.
kind of hunched
Thank you.
over.
Yeah, definitely. No, he felt differently too.
As you're watching media, movies, television shows, etc., especially movies, start, you know, just don't let it ruin your experience, but start paying attention to the way that things are framed and presented to elicit specific emotions. Okay, because we respond, we have a natural inclination to respond to certain visual representations with certain emotional sets. And the movie industry is superb about using that to affect our emotions. And Joe could probably go into a lot more detail on this because he's actually got real training on it.
Yeah. Joe Kidd.
Yeah. So I also did, I went to an animation school that was just character animation.
Oh, yeah.
And it was taught by like people who work, the guys who started it worked at Pixar and ILM. So like people who know what they're doing. I was trained by people like at Blue Sky and DreamWorks and all that stuff. So really cool. But what they started with was the fundamentals, and staging was one of the fundamentals. And it was all about how you're setting up the shot. And like, I don't know, there's just so many little things, you know, of course, the simple things like rule of thirds and 180-degree rule, all that stuff. But then there was really cool things like if I'm talking to somebody this way, I'm usually framed on this third. But sometimes they'll frame you here to make you feel uncomfortable. That's just one example. You know, because usually you have that space between you. This makes you feel closer. That makes sense in a movie.
So some things that stand out. Say that
Sorry.
again, Casey.
In advertising and catalogs, Victoria's
Mm-hmm.
Secret never 20 years ago would show a crotch shot. The legs were always elegantly closed or not even close. And now it's all, super explicit. It used to be Fredericks of Hollywood would have those, open stances, and even just so much as in a magazine layout or a catalog layout, you don't have the model looking off the page. They look to the center of the fold, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of that demure, polite has changed.
Right. But we still respond to those things.
Mhm.
Just maybe through training, maybe through there's some inherent stuff in it. I would tend to say there's inherent training in it, that it's inherent within us because it goes all the way back to great works of art from thousands of years ago. They still
Absolutely.
follow these same principles. And
Absolutely.
it's not like we decided, well, this piece of art follows these principles, so it becomes a great work of art, because we didn't think about that. What happened is thousands of pieces of art were made, and some of them were great, and so those pieces got preserved. And the art that sucked didn't get preserved because it didn't follow these rules. It's not like we came up with the rule and then we made art to fit it. We came up with the art and then we interpreted the rules. Yeah. So.
And then we broke the rules, which made some art even better.
It does. It does.
Yeah. I was going to say, not to harp on the aggressive word, but when he was saying it, it made me think of a coach talking to a player and telling him to be more aggressive on the court or on the field. That's what I got that as you were coaching him. That's what it kind of like. So that's where mine just to show.
I had the same kind of perception of it.
Yeah, because he something about him seemed passive the way he was talking about it.
Yeah.
Right. But in real life, I did post a book in the chat, Bob, that might be good for him. I don't know. It's called When I Say No, I Feel Guilty. And it goes into, sort of the way we're raised and why people use our emotions to manipulate us. So to me, I read the book to get better at sales, and it really helped me. And then it turned out it also helped me in my personal relationships.
All I have in my head is cheerleaders going, be aggressive, be aggressive.
I feel like, what are you gonna do? Right? Someone's aggressive.
Well,
Like,
that's
hell no.
one of my skits is be aggressive like a yappy chihuahua.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah. Some of it's just motivation, which we get into. And if you watch the other, it's pretty lengthy, but I really get into where it is and how we can get it out. And then I show him how to bring it out. And basically he was a hockey coach. And he was in Lehigh, and that was his moment. And he just really had all the confidence. And then next year he lost because he wasn't aggressive enough in his coaching. Does that make sense now?
Totally.
So he's like, man, you did it to me. You got me crying. I go, that's all right. Keep going.
Yeah.
So there's a whole part.
So much more sense.
Yeah, it does. And that's what I'm saying. I wanted to change it, but who am I to change his words?
Yeah.
And who am I to say whether it means what it means or it doesn't? I can't do that. Because then I could be changing something that is in his world that could be wrong.
Right.
And now he's got a different way of thinking.
Well, and you asked a question. You asked a question of him, and his answer was, I need to be more aggressive. He needs to be more what? More aggressive. Right. Well, if you change that, are you serving him?
Right.
You're not serving him at all. Like whatever the word means to him, his subconscious came up and said, I need to be more aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
of all the words, that's the one he chose.
Right.
When I was more of a jerk to my wife than I am now.
Why did you make sure?
She happens.
I love how he looks at her when he says it.
She used to use this phrase on me. She said, "You can't tell me that my feelings are wrong because they're my feelings."
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Joe, I have a book for you.
I don't know, Joe. I don't know, Joe. I just recently told my brother that his feelings were wrong because he got we have a poker group, and one of our friends, we normally meet every other week, and one of our buddies was like, "Hey man, I want to throw a get together. I want to have an extra poker night on an off week at my house." And we've got a group chat with like all of us in there, and he threw the invite in there. And the people who were like, "Yeah, I can make it, I can't make it, et cetera, et cetera," all that conversation went down in the chat, right? And then my brother hears about the poker night like the day of, and he hasn't got an invite. I'm like, "What the hell you mean you didn't get an invite? Everybody got an invite." He's like, "Well, I don't check the chat." And I'm like, "Well, you're not allowed to be upset that you didn't get an invite when you didn't check the place where we get invites. Like you're not allowed to get upset about that. That's not okay. That's not an okay reaction."
That fair situation. That we never had those situations. That's what I was discussing.
Yeah.
So yeah, what I'll do next week, I'll bring it up the next video, the continuation of it, and I'll just try and find some bits for you guys to show you the end result and how I really took what he had and submerged them into it pretty
I love
deep.
that you're really getting into the flow of making content.
Yeah. Yeah, I brought it with me and I said, I got to do it.
Gary V says, document, don't create. Basically, which basically means record everything, because if you don't record everything, you're going to miss the good stuff.
Yeah.
If you're only recording when you're intentionally creating, you're gonna miss the good stuff.
And then it's nice because if you think about it, he had the video, it progresses his book, it helps the person he's mentoring, and it gives him content that can be used, either the transcript or the videos themselves can be used in his online training course. So you're and that's what I took away from Adam's talk today. It's like he's recording his sessions and it's like, with any business, if you can sell the byproducts of your work, then you have another income stream, so like, I don't know what the byproducts of.
So he has a YouTube, a podcast, and sales.
Yeah. I messed up with the time change and missed the first half of that. And I can't wait till the recordings come out so I can watch the rest of it.
Yeah, it's good.
Very good. So I was busy all day yesterday, so I didn't see any of the talks. And then today I only jumped in on Collins, but I was wondering if you guys had any like must see recordings.
You gotta see Adam. You have to see
see mine.
Yours was awesome. What's the rich guy? You have to watch his too.
Marshall.
Yeah, holy shit.
I didn't see his.
Well,
he's
he offered
amazing.
a $3,000 class to all of us for 2.
For free.
Do you think he does it, or does he have people that teach it?
No, I think he teaches it, but I think you're getting into his high-end funnel, which is fine. It sounds like it'd be a fun class.
I'm not sure if he might be doing them still himself. I know at some point he was like having
trainers,
his mentees do it. But of course, you're absolutely going into his $200,000 funnel.
Oh, he's over the top. I use his embedded commands on one of his videos. I love it. He is really over the top, that guy.
Awesome.
I swear he's artificial intelligence. That's how smart he is.
Really?
He's right up there the category with Chase Hughes for sure.
They're on different playing fields, but yeah.
Who?
Chase
Hughes.
Oh yeah. But Chase Hughes, are we recording? Never mind.
Oh,
would you like us to pause it?
Yeah, there you go. Pause it.
And this is why you come to the live.
So that's what he said.
That's
That's what he told her.
I can't believe he said that.
So other than that, were there any other speakers that you would recommend?
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's only so many deals. Just watch all of them.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, I mean, there's not that
It's not
many.
like there were 300
Derek
presentations.
Stokes was
I
awesome.
will eventually, but I'm not.
You know,
gonna-
priority list. I got you.
Well, hopefully.
I
we'll
didn't
get
see
it.
Justin Trance. I want to watch his thing.
I
Just
watched
check
it
it
for
out.
a second, but I have, there was something else that was more
He's the
interesting.
Italian guy, yeah?
Italian, Portuguese, something like that.
Italian, yeah.
Italian.
Italian.
Yeah.
I was hoping that we'll get them in some sort of format that we can watch them at like, a little bit faster speed. I signed up for some training, and when I turned it on, it was 4 hours and there was no like setting that I could adjust it.
Yeah.
First hour was just nonsense.
Yeah, my YouTube is set to automatically play everything at 1.25.
Yeah. Most of the time that's what I watch things at.
Me too.
That's the minimum for me. I generally kick stuff up to 2x.
Alan can't. When we listen to audiobooks, I'm like, can we speed this up? And he's like, no. And it's like, really? This is an 8 hour. Oh.
Do it without him knowing.
No, he can't understand it. He can't follow it.
Do you know that
Processes differently.
reruns are at 1.1, so they can fit in 2 more commercials an hour.
Sure.
Like on television.
Oh wow, that's
yeah, on television. Reruns are at 1.1 so that they can fit in 2 more commercials an hour.
I'm gonna check out here.
I have
All right, Bob.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
Get some
fasting.
rest.
I'm fast. I do intermittent fasting, and I'm starting to get hungry, and that's not a good sign.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah, so just hang out. So the Ghrelin spike only lasts for 30 minutes. So just hang out for another 30 minutes.
If I go to
and
bed,
then
I'm
you're
fine.
good. Oh, you're gonna go to bed and sleep through it. Yeah, I get it. I do that too. So.
I've been hungry for 2 days on this damn.
and you do like bone broth?
Oh, geez.
No,
No,
not if you're intermittent fasting.
I do. Yeah, I do the 8 and 16. So
Yeah, I probably haven't had enough water myself too.
So I have a client that called about her son is a ski racer. And will it help with ski racing hypnosis? And I said, of course.
Yeah,
And,
sports.
I said, okay. And she said, what about me? And I said, for skiing? She said, no, I'm a realtor and I love to win. I'm very competitive. I want bigger, higher, faster sales.
Yes.
So I don't know which, I'm thinking the circle of excellence, maybe the pillars of excellence. Do I start though with a kinetic shift and emotional detox, or just go into success trigger?
You need to get with the client first before you decide.
Yeah.
And see where they are, because they may not be ready for circle of excellence. If he's a skier that can't remember being a winner, it's hard to anchor that in.
I'm starting with her first, and then he'll come down the road.
Salespeople are great. You could future pace them into seeing themselves already getting that award or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's a lot. It's really all about getting with them and seeing where they're at, because depending on their modalities, depends on what techniques you want to use.
They
What do
just
you
had an
think?
art- Sorry.
What do you think, James? You've been working with some Olympians.
Yeah, Olympic hopeful. Yeah. So I've done a lot of things with him, but I like what Lisa said, where you just get in and talk to them. You could do something similar to what Bob did, not necessarily the same way, but find out, okay, what does she mean by more sales? Like what's holding her back? And then, not that you want to focus on what's holding her back, but you could ask her unconscious mind, what would it look like, or how would she, how would it be if she was more successful? And then it'll flow out of her. And so with my athletes, I oftentimes, they have certain things that's, with my athlete, it's like, jerking the gun before he shoots or something like that. So there's things that in a sport where you can focus on techniques, but they have their coaches for most of that. They know what they need to do typically, or their unconscious mind does it at least. But, there's lots of sales training, but if it's not a technique issue, then I think the hypnosis could help.
Yeah.
But you have to also get her to quantify, what does more sales mean? Because
I can tell you, they had an article here in the Vale Daily a couple weeks ago. The average home price for a single family home in Vale Village is $24 million.
Whoa.
The average home price in Vale Village. I'm like, oh shit.
So how much is she gonna pay you?
Right.
Tell her you want 1% for the next year.
Okay. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Right.
I mean, she's getting 6.
Right.
And you need
1%, but I like the idea.
She's gonna need weekly sessions. Yeah. Gonna have to come in every week.
She
Make her
gets
dependent on you.
6%, depending on if she's just the seller.
Yeah.
Well, see,
buyer's agent.
it could go both ways. It could be, holy shit, Casey hypnotized me, now I'm killing it. Or it could be, holy shit, I'm not telling anyone. Or they're gonna kill it too.
Well, you're not gonna break her. Like don't
No,
go in there and
she's
be like,
worried.
you're gonna
Yeah.
become a shitty salesman. Like, don't break her. You just go in there and make her better. It'll improve.
No, I think she was
No.
saying she wouldn't admit that she worked with her.
Who
Yes,
cares?
she won't be.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. I would just say you're going to charge her the executive rate because she
1%.
probably won't refer anybody.
My regular rate's $3.25 an hour. So
No.
probably,
What's her average commission? You need to look at her last year's sales, and then she needs to compare her sales. And I'm telling you, 1%.
that's a good idea. Damn. You guys are.
I mean,
good at
why
this.
not? Why not? Athletes, agents get 10%. Why shouldn't their hypnotists get 1%? Seems
Yeah.
fair to me.
I like the way you roll.
Well, mine has guns, so I got to be careful what I say to him.
Yeah, so she's making like $700,000 commission on a $24 million home.
I don't
Yeah.
know that she sold any of those.
Yeah, like you could just take not 1% of what, like just 1% of her commissions would probably be a massive amount of money.
Yeah.
Yes. So even if she's selling a $6 million home, she's making 18,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the idea of pitching a retainer where you're going to see her bi-weekly and then be available for, an impromptu session before she goes in for a big sale or something like that. And then, with the retainer, it's not as much about the hourly rate. Maybe you're charging her like $1,000 a month for,
And
Like a coach.
Yeah.
how does the selling process for her work?
right.
Terry Stokes was talking about when he grabs a microphone, he personifies that. What is it for her? Is it whenever she opens the door? Is it whenever she turns that knob?
When she does the unlock box,
picks up the
right?
phone call, whatever,
The unlock boxes are on phones now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Maybe in your area. Another thing you can also do is teach her some VAK for building rapport with her people.
Good
Yeah.
idea.
It's gonna automatically.
That is a good one.
I wrote a college paper on NLP and real estate sales.
Really?
Ooh.
Oh,
Should get her that.
Yeah, it was published in the 1983. No.
You got to get on microfilm. You got to get on the microfiche. I'm old enough that I actually had to do that sometimes in high school.
Sure, me
in
too.
college.
You like living dangerously, don't you, Scott?
I don't know what you're talking about. Lisa has no problems with how old she is.
Nope.
She carries it well. She's not unhappy about it at all.
When I met Alan, he said, I don't want to ask how old you are, but I can't date someone 15 years younger than me. And I was like, really? You think I'm that young? Okay.
Are you guys a couple?
Yes.
Did you seriously? Y'all are married, right?
No.
Y'all are at
Alan?
least common law by this point.
I thought you were Sean's wife.
What? Where did you get that idea?
No idea. No clue.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey.
She must have saw y'all dancing at Hypno Thoughts.
So she's all dancing.
No, I think it was just on here.
No.
Yeah, I thought you were in the same room at one time.
They might have been. That don't
Oh,
mean
no.
no.
I'm the only one you'll dance for. So
Hey, did anybody watch the gentleman, speaking of someone who looks younger, he was speaking about voice and timbre or
Jeff-
voice technique.
Jeffrey.
But I only watched a few minutes. I had to leave for something. So that's the one I really want to check out. But he said he was in his 60s and he looks significantly younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of people who look significantly younger, how old do you think Steve is?
Steve Sapachana?
Yeah.
50 something.
I thought he was around my age. Yeah.
I don't know
50.
how old you are,
I think
but
you're
I'm
younger
50.
than me. Yeah. And Steve's older than me.
So
Yeah.
people usually don't think I'm 50. It's the baby fat.
Steve is definitely older than I would have thought he was.
62.
62? You're in the
Vibrant
neighborhood,
62.
I think.
He got that cowboy strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Alan is 62.
I believe he is also a rocket scientist like your wife, Joe.
Nice.
Yeah.
Or Colonel, General, something like that.
Yeah.
He was Air Force.
I could be wrong, but
Is that my husband over there?
your husband over where?
Sean, did you hear that? That you guys were a couple?
I thought you and Lisa were a couple. I don't know why.
I don't know either.
Hey,
Yeah,
oh,
I'm
that
her
should be the
dancing
cover
king.
of
That's
this
what it is.
episode.
No, Sean,
Like
Sean,
a wedding
Sean
shot
is
of the two of them.
Sean is single and available to mingle, I do believe.
Sean lives in the frozen tundra. It would never work.
Yeah.
Keep you warm.
I could move someplace warm.
He's like, you live in San Diego, right? San Diego.
We've had 300 inches of snow so far this year. It's nice and warm.
Yeah, you guys got lots of snow. That's even more than we'll get in the season.
It's 100 more inches than we got last 20 years.
Damn women in Colorado, all they ever talk about is how many inches they got.
I'm telling you.
I'm
Famous for
going,
that.
I'm going almost to Canada. We're going to North Dakota.
Yeah, that's almost Canada.
Yeah.
But that's like almost southern Canada.
Yeah,
Sean is in, is this really still Canada?
Oh yeah, it's still
or are
Canada.
we next to Santa Claus? Yeah, we're going like right up on the border there.
So here's a fun fact for you, geography. The southernmost part of continental Canada is right in line with Northern California.
Yep.
Okay.
Cold there too.
Yeah.
Not as cold as it is here.
No, not at all. We did Tule Lake, which is right on the Oregon-California border.
You can't start talking about how cold stuff is. Sean's going to win.
Sean will win.
Actually, I didn't.
I went to Vancouver and it's really nice over there, actually.
Yeah, well, they're different. You know, we don't really count those guys around the other side of the mountains.
With the ocean.
We're not eating caribou and whale blubber. How cold is it?
That's right. They'll eat salmon year round, those guys. Unlike the rest of us, we still prefer to have our beef, our elk, moose, deer.
Caribou is deer. It's reindeer. Doesn't have enough fat on it. That's why you have to eat the whale blubber.
But the caribou are much further north than I am. Remember that map I showed you guys? You go to the top of Saskatchewan, that's where the caribou are. And then north into the Northwest Territories.
Like Alaska.
That would be, yeah.
So Sean, when you retire, are you going to stay there or are you going to get the hell out and go like to Toronto where it's warmer?
Oh, I'm not going to Toronto. Sorry, center of the universe. No, their attitude sucks. If I go anywhere, there'd be two possible cities. One would be Saskatoon, which is the largest city in our province, but it does have an airport with a direct flight out to at least Minneapolis, so I don't have to hop 25 times to get places. The other place that I might consider would be Calgary, but
Calgary's cool.
Yeah, I know. They're just a wrong football team.
Well, you're always welcome to move to Texas. We like people who weren't born here but got here as soon as they could.
The long walk.
Or there's some of
I wouldn't
us
suggest you
born
walk.
there, got out. Then there's those of us that was born there and got out as soon as they could. Is St. David's Hospital still standing, James?
I think it got rebuilt, but yeah, I think it's still going. There's been some weird stuff with the hospitals. There was like a group bought a couple of them and then knocked them down and rebuilt them. So I don't know for sure. My wife's a nurse, so I need to ask her. We're having South by Southwest, so it's like the city's a madhouse this next week.
Yeah, I'd much rather live in the outskirts than in Austin proper.
Yeah, I used to live in Austin proper, like 3 or 4 miles from downtown, but right now I'm in the suburbs, which I resisted for a long time, but we got here right before the pandemic and it really helped a lot because I wouldn't have survived in the 1,300 square foot house with 2 big dogs and a wife and 2 kids being homeschooled.
I lived in Jollyville and I lived in Cedar Rapids and Leander.
Leander is like one of the fastest growing cities in the country, or has been in the last few years. It's been because things moved out of Austin because of the prices.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I looked into doing a 1031 exchange and moving like to Jollyville, and my property taxes would quadruple. So I said, no.
Yeah, this is going to sound like first world problems, but my first home was $150,000. It's a teardown, but it's in a really nice neighborhood in terms of you're 3 miles from downtown, and it's like a trendy area. It's called the 04, the 78704, but they just raised my taxes to almost $17,000 a year, and that's like, huh?
Thank goodness you own it.
Yeah, but now I have to sell it probably and do a 1031 exchange to somewhere where all my money is not going to be eaten up with taxes. Because, and then we have a psycho tenant. I had to tell them on Friday that we're not renewing the lease, and they got really mad.
Well, did you tell them you have to sell it?
That's what I said. Yeah, I said, like I'm not paying $6,000 for you to live in my house.
Yeah, 17,000 is a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, the house
is that yearly?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so when we moved out, they still had it listed as a homestead for me. So like the taxes weren't right. And then they figured it out. So now it's like, they only pay $2,200 a month in rent, right? So, and the mortgage isn't a lot. It's like $1,200 or $1,300. But once you factor in like maintenance, it's just like,
there's nothing left. Yeah.
But, the neighborhood will probably still appreciate. Most of the houses on the street have been bought and knocked down, and now they're over $1 million. But my house is $150,000, built in the 50s. And even though it's got some updates, it's not nice. So I'm probably limited as to what I can get for it. But yeah, long story short,
probably get more for
California,
the lot.
still raising the prices here.
Yeah.
A lot of people are moving from California over there.
Yeah, they're following Elon.
There was quite a few places from San Francisco, Oracle, and all that moved to Austin.
Yep. Yeah, quite a few corporations have moved here in the last few years.
It used to be IBM and TI was there.
Yep. Yeah. One of the old IBM plants got put into sort of redeveloped into like a place called the Domain, and it's like expensive. Like there's a Tesla and a Ferrari dealership there, and it's all like boutique kind of things and trendy restaurants and cool things, but
into one of these communities where you never have to leave.
That's kind of what it is. It's like ground floor shopping, upstairs apartments or condos, and then
those things are taking over the state. I think they're annoying and I hate them, but
I used to like them when I first saw them in Dallas, and I was like, oh, these would be really cool in Austin. And now that they're here, I'm like, if you're living in them, it's cool. But
if you live in them and you're down with that, it's cool. But you just, I mean, you're really getting to the point where you're just a hamster in a wheel at that point, to me, Like everything's inside. Like you could literally never leave the community and you would be able to live theoretically.
You wouldn't need a car.
Wouldn't necessarily call it a good
Well,
life,
yeah,
but some
the
people love
green,
it.
well, I don't want to get political, but the green movement, the energy and
Yeah.
climate and all that, they're starting to say they want to build 15-minute cities, meaning everything you need is within 15 minutes of you.
Yeah.
And that's a great concept, but when they start doing lock-ins, when we have lockdowns because of like energy, it's going to be rough.
Well, if we ever have lockdowns because of energy, because the breakthroughs they're making since they actually managed to get a net positive for fusion, they've been making breakthroughs left, right, and sideways in the last 6-7 months. So,
oh wow, I didn't know they'd done that.
Yeah, about like I want to say August or so of last year, one lab actually managed to lick some net positive fusion, and it's been repeated multiple times in multiple places now, and like it's rapidly progressing to commercial development. Yeah, and like once that's licked, like wow, energy's like it's just everywhere. Like we lick fusion, man. Like that's it. Like what energy? What's the energy problem?
Right.
People are like, well, how are we going to power all these electric cars? Well, I mean, there's one way, piece of cake. The energy left over, we're going to end up being a K1 society where we have more energy than we have need for it. Yeah. Oh. But yeah, we're still probably 2035 away from the first commercial plant, but that's still just around the corner when you think about it.
Yep. Oh, I'd like to stay a little bit longer. And Joe, sometime I want to hear about your animation. That sounds like a cool thing to study.
I'll have to see if I have some of my old footage that I did. I know I do. I have one on my YouTube that I'm pretty happy with, but it's nothing. But was good for.
Do you still play with it though, or could you still play with it? Because all the tools have gotten a lot more affordable now, right? You can do a lot of it with a Mac.
Yeah, I'd have to relearn the tools and where everything is and all that stuff. But it's because the school focused on the fundamentals. That was the base. So the fundamentals don't change whether you're hand drawing something or making it move on a computer. So those things were really driven home.
I would think, you could do something with face swap too.
Man, you could definitely make a basic video. I don't know what you might call it, but a basic video training for people in this industry that teaches people the basics of how to frame shots and how just some of the basics on doing video, because you like the people, we're not making movies. We don't need everything, but just if the people who are making videos had 30% more knowledge on how to do it right, they'd be making 10 times better videos.
It's true.
Yeah.
They say you can only really absorb 15 to 20% above your current level. So when you're teaching somebody, that's what you have to aim for. And then once they're there, then you can take them another, and then you can get you 20%, but not.
That's why we all design our funnels to have multiple levels. They get more expensive and more expensive.
No, that's grooming.
That's what?
It's grooming.
Okay.
Okay, groomer.
And on that note, I'm out of here for the next.
All right. We'll see you later, Joe.
Hey, Joe.
I think I'm gonna go too. You guys have a great night.
Chase them all around.
Oh, Sean, not Sean. Scott, I forgot to tell you about Tone. I used that to make some PowerPoints today.
Tone. Oh, I've heard of that one, but I haven't actually looked into it.
It's a great concept. It's basically you tell it, hey, make me a presentation on this topic, and it cranks out like 10 slides or whatever. So it's ChatGPT plus Dolly. The problem I have is the Dolly, when it puts text in, it's just insane.
It's just it's really bad.
You couldn't actually use most of the graphics. You would have to like have somebody do something about them, but it's good to get like idea down on paper. So
yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the pieces I get out of Dolly. Like you can give Midjourney almost any prompt and it'll produce something that's decent. But Dolly, man, like I've never gotten anything that was like wow out of Dolly.
Yeah.
I was surprised though. It is really good at imitating different artist styles.
Yes, that they have down pretty cool.
Even artists that aren't very known, because I put in there my daughter, who's probably got 200 Instagram followers on her art, and it was like, make me an image of blah 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 in her Instagram handles style, and man, it nailed it.
That's crazy because I didn't think ChatGPT had like internet from the last 2 years. So
no, not
amazing.
ChatGPT. I'm talking about Dolly.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, it's probably crawled
yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, not only is it crawled it, but it's associated.
Right, she's got a profile in there. They know,
yeah, with the handle, because that's what I did in the style of, and then I put her Instagram handle in there, and like so it gave me 4 images, and they were all kind of okay, but one of them, man, was really on point. Like I could have believed that she had drawn that.
Interesting.
So.
A little scary.
And man, with the things that I'm doing with ChatGPT, I introduced my brother to it, and he's just like, "Oh my God, where was this 4 years ago when I needed it?" And he's like, "Man, the things he probably won't get any sleep tonight. I'll be honest. Like he's just gonna dive all in on it." And
is he doing it with the code stuff that you've been showing? Did you show him?
No. So he did a bunch of drop shipping in the past, and he's like, man, I can have this do product descriptions. I can have it do, advertisement funnel work. Like he's just going all in on it. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I've say that again.
Alan just asked me, have you heard of ChatGPT? And I was like,
yeah. You're like, have you heard me? Like you're like, catch up, man. You're behind. I
was like, remember you walked by and we were like talking all over the da. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah. But now so it we got we talked about having the section, you, me, and GPT, and talking about what we're doing with AI. But honestly, I could probably talk for an hour right now about what I did with ChatGPT this week.
Yeah.
Because I did a bunch of programming. I designed a complete website with programming, like something that I could not, there's no plugin for WordPress to do what I wanted to do. So, me and ChatGPT hammered out all the coding for it one day / night. Then I needed a piece of programming, a pretty simple program to take all the lines in a text document and randomly rearrange them. And it knocked that out. And like, I had to do 2-3 edits to it, 2 or 3 things. I had to be like, yeah, it's not doing this right. It's not doing that right. And it was like, oh, I apologize. Here's some updated code. And, it didn't take much to get that done. I figured out that if you take like all your code from a website, okay, and you just drop it in there, all your HTML, and you say, create me some CSS for this website that will give it a elegant and classic look. It'll just spit it out in about 13 seconds. And you just drop it in and it's all done. It's like, dang, man, that's awesome. So I can easily, and then today I was starting to work on a different themes so that I can have buttons on a website and they can click the light theme or the dark theme or the other theme or whatever, and it's just like, oh yeah, this is how you do that. And I'm like, awesome. Now let's do that.
I mean, it's a great accelerator, right? Like you could, I could do what you did today because I don't know enough about coding to ask it the right things.
Yeah.
But I could probably start down the coding path.
Right. But the thing is, you don't have to know enough, right? You can say, this is the result I want. What do I need to do to make that happen? And it'll tell you, and most of the time it's right with those kind of questions, and it'll give you step by step. And then you're just like, okay, explain step 1 to me. And then you do step 1 and it works really well that way. And then I've also, yeah, you know, well, never mind. I was going to say something, but I'm just going to leave that as proprietary. Some of the stuff I'm doing with GPT, I don't want people to know. Like like you said, it's an accelerator. It's an accelerator unlike anything I've ever seen before. You know, it's one of the things my brother, right? So he does a bunch of drop shipping products, and this is what sold him on. I was talking to him about last night. Like I said, we have a poker night every 2 weeks, and I was talking to him about last night, and I said, no, look at this, look, man, you don't understand what I'm saying here. So I pulled it up, and I'm like, write me a sales letter in the style of Joe Sugarman on XYZ, and it just spit it out in 15, 20 seconds. It has the whole thing written, and he's just like, oh my God. Oh my God. Like that sold him. He's like, yeah, no, I've got to do this. I've got to do this. Yeah.
You can ask it to write in the style of Marshall Silver.
Right. Yeah. If there's enough out there that's attributed to him, it'll nail it. Like it's insane how well it nails the style of different people. If there's enough out there about them, it just, like those people wouldn't be able to tell themselves that it wasn't them. Yeah.
Lisa,
That is scary.
Camp.
What was that, Casey?
I'm interested in Lisa's boot camp.
Really?
Yeah, give us a synopsis, Lisa.
The synopsis of the boot camp?
Sure.
All right. Well, we have 2 boot camps this year. We have a 5-day boot camp in Washington. That's after HypnoThoughts.
The one before is real close to it, though. The August one is I have too many weddings in August. It's a busy month for me.
So the one in July is in Fargo, and that's up to 10 days.
Yeah.
And it pretty much you would roll into HypnoThoughts if you're doing any kind of pre-con from there.
Yeah, I'd come back for 2 days or 3 days just to do something. My whole thing I'm waiting for is that my dog has cancer, and so I got to get him through chemo and see. I have no idea how long he's going to live.
What his health is, yeah.
But it's a fatal, without treatment, it's 1 to 3 months survival rate. And with treatment, it's 6 to 8 months. And then there are some people whose dogs are lasting 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's in a good place, I can go, but I'm not going to stress him out right after chemo,
Yeah, for sure. No, it's, so boot camp is pretty brutal. It's, 12 to 14 hour days. We have a pre-day where we teach you how to set up the sound system. We go over video, that kind of thing. Then you get on stage and you do shows.
Yeah. It looks like the most effective, like if you do this and you don't get on stage after, shame on you.
Yeah, pretty much.
I want to take your thing, but I don't think I would ever get on stage outside of, a few times. Yeah. But I really would love to do it.
I have a feeling that if you took it, it would give you the confidence to get on stage all the damn time.
Yeah, confidence isn't an issue. That's not an issue for me.
Some people that take it just for the ability to be able to go back and do talks to promote their hypnosis business.
Because they have the media, the content.
And now they know all the elements of it. And even if they're not doing a comedy show, they have elements that they can use to do a talk and a demonstration. But
I contacted the gym nearby to see if I could speak to them about hypnosis for weight loss. And she was like, yeah, send me an email and tell me what you're doing. And I'm like, I will. Yeah. Shit. I haven't done that yet.
And you didn't.
No.
So yeah, so not only are you the really cool thing about boot camp is not only are you doing shows, you're seeing other people do shows. So there's, we all know there's a way from and towards seeking people. So some of us go there and we look at somebody else do it. And this is how I got into hypnosis, stage hypnosis. I didn't, I was young and nobody wanted to come to me for clinical. And my mentor said, well, you took the stage training from Mormon. We're going to have a stage class that I'm going to be teaching. Why don't you come to that? And I was like, okay. And at the beginning of it, he showed us a video of a guy doing a stage show. And this was back pretty much the only place that you had stage shows was bars. Dr. Dean, Pat, all of it was bars. And this guy did this video, and he was a terrible hypnotist. Like, just
That's my biggest fear is I'll get them all up there and they'll be like, what are you doing?
No, no.
Oh, I'm sure you would do well. Yeah.
No. So this guy was a terrible hypnotist. He saw girls taking their shirts off. Like,
come on.
And so after the video, then he looked around the room and said, hey, you know, feedback, you, what do you have to say? And I go, that guy's a terrible hypnotist. He looked me right in my face and he goes, and you're not. And I was like, oh, I stepped in it. So I said, all right, but I don't want to do bars. What am I going to do? And he said, do house parties. And that's where I started.
Cool.
So with house parties.
You know, it was interesting. Who was it that said weddings? Because I'm a wedding hairdresser, right?
Jason O'Callahan in Ireland.
He is the wedding hypnotist.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then, you know, so there's that experience. You might see somebody up there and go, wow, they sucked. I could do better than that. Or you might go up there and you go, oh, wow, that was really cool how they did that. I want to like incorporate something like that into my thing. Or I never thought, oh, I could do that too.
Yeah, I have some stage, so I know blocking. I know how to cheat to the camera and to like Terry Stokes stands behind his people.
Yep.
So I've got some common sense around that part of it.
As Alan says, we don't want to see your backsides.
Yeah, yeah.
I call that get thee behind.
Get thee behind.
Get thee behind. We had one guy and I kept saying, hey, get behind. And he wouldn't do it. So I sat in the front row and just took pictures. And then I gave him an SD card full of pictures of his butt.
Good.
What we're seeing from the audience.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh my God, because their eyes are closed. They don't need to see you.
Right.
Like, keep your eye on them, but you don't need your back to the audience. And that's it, left over from doing clinical. You know, we focus on the person we're hypnotizing. Everybody else.
I like that. I like that today. The whole gist of what everyone said was, don't embarrass your people. Don't make them look like fools. Their safety is utmost important. The client is the one that makes the show. You're not the star of it. It was really, really, everyone was so humble. It was really impressive.
Yeah, they are the stars. They are definitely the stars. And even if you do the same show over and over and over, I know Colin would have a conniption, the people respond differently.
Sure.
You know, you could do the same exact show over and over and over, and some of the shows are gonna suck. And some of the shows are gonna knock it out of the park, and it's the exact same show. Good night, James.
Great seeing everybody. Yep, I'll see you.
Thanks.
I sent you a product idea, Scott. Check it out.
I saw that.
Have a good night, everybody.
You too.
Bye.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, the Fargo one is so much bang for the buck.
It sounds like it.
I can't even imagine. You could potentially do 10 shows.
Yeah, it's so much bang for the buck. I've seriously considered taking it.
Yeah, I told him.
I thought you were on stage already, Scott. I was surprised when you said no.
Yeah, no, I've never done a stage show, but I do recreational stuff. Like Lisa was saying, more like house party type stuff, and like it's street, just not on the street.
Yeah. So the one thing about the fairs, though, you got to be squeaky clean.
Okay.
There's no adult content at all, because you will have probably 12-year-olds on your stage and younger.
Got it. Sure. That's probably something I need.
And if you're going to be a wedding hypnotist, then also, you know, there could be children there, so you need to be able to.
Right.
But like Colin says, well, I could do shows at the Pitt County Fair. I could do them anywhere.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
That's
it's the
true enough.
You're talking about fitness centers. Have you advertised there at fitness centers before, or is that just something new that
No, I want to get some clients in for weight loss, and I thought I would do a class there on hypnosis and weight loss, and just kind of like I would do for a Rotary Club.
Okay.
You know?
Because when you mentioned that, I just looked up here. There's like 4 fitness centers right around here.
My
Oh, sure.
That's an
my
excellent idea.
suggestion
Thanks.
for that would be go to the really expensive ones.
They're all really expensive, dude. That's why I don't
Yeah,
have one.
where you're at.
He lives. Where
Like the golf clubs here, $100,000 to join, and it fucking snows 7 months a year.
oh, golfers have lots of expendable income for improving their golf game.
Yeah.
And there's there's books out on it already about hypnosis and improving the golf
Just
game.
I mean, Green Valley, it's a retirement community. So
Yeah.
I mean,
I told you
not
24
everybody
million.
there's got tons of money, but there's quite a few that do.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you don't want to go hit a Planet Fitness.
There isn't one.
Yeah,
There
there's
isn't one
not going to be
like
one.
like when you talk about that 15 minutes away thing, I have to go 2 hours to the mall.
You chose to live there.
Right. But I like that 15-minute thing. That concept sounds really awesome to me. I'm looking
I
at
hate that idea.
looking at lower southern Canada. I'm like, fuck that. I'm going to like Phoenix or Tucson. Getting out of the snow.
Tucson's like 40 miles north of me, almost.
North of you. Are you in
Yeah.
Mexico?
No,
Almost.
I'm between Tucson and Mexico, right about in the middle.
Wow.
So it's not
that's
maybe
really
quite
tough.
40, but it's close.
So is that Arches behind you? What's the
pretty
thing? It's where?
Oh, that's just a stock photo back there for the virtual backgrounds.
I think it's Arches National Park in Moab.
Yeah, Utah
Yeah, it's
is where I
beautiful.
think that's at.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to be in Blythe this next week.
Yeah, if
that?
you want
It's near Arizona.
to, if you want to avoid snow, we're the snowiest area in Texas, and every year we get a whopping 2 to 24 inches.
And where are you?
I'm in Amarillo, Texas. I'm dead center in the Texas Panhandle.
Okay. I lived in San Antonio when I was little. My dad was in the Air Force.
San Antonio probably they get snow every decade.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And it's not much.
They have the river walk. I mean, they have
Apparently it's pretty sketchy right now.
the river walk.
Yeah, I was there a couple years ago and someone said that it was really a lot of places were closed and it's depressing and homeless and stuff. I'm like, what?
I was there a year and a half ago. It's a couple homeless, but nothing like San Francisco.
Right.
Yeah, but you can't use San Francisco as a basis of comparison.
Well, it's a major metropolitan area.
Yeah, and San Antonio's
I
not.
was walking around San Antonio at midnight, and I didn't feel like I was a feared in my life.
Cool.
So Planet Fitness, that's like the budget and not worth.
Planet Fitness is the super
Right.
budget one that all the van lifers use.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Living
Yeah, because you pay $10 a month for a shower.
Oh, cool.
It's $12 a shower at the truck stop.
Ah. That's gonna be us, Brewster.
Interesting.
If I don't start some hypnosis, we're gonna be living in a car.
Yeah.
Living in a van down by the river.
It's not bad when it's a choice.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to
Will never be a choice for me.
Roulette. And I said that. I was like, oh, we can stay in the van. And he goes, no. He didn't get our heater hooked up. So we're not vanning it. We'll be hotel.
No. I like that purple couch, Lisa.
Thank you.
It looks good on you.
A purple couch. I got a purple wall. I got a purple blanket. I got a purple shirt.
Shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, my wall was bamboo green, and when I was gone, my son hated it. And when I was gone, we compromised on it. I was like, well, let's keep it for 6 months. And he's like, it's 6 months. I still hate it. So he painted the wall purple, and I was like, oh, I don't know if my new purple couch is gonna clash with it, but
It's great. It's great.
I'm happy.
Sure you don't want orange on with that somewhere?
Orange, no.
Just as an
You had
accident.
that one hypnotist the other day, that last one day with the orange and the purple.
Yellow and purple, gold.
Ooh.
I can't remember the guy's name. He's one that's all scared and being on stage half the time, apparently.
I don't know.
More context.
Anyway, you were talking about what a fashion disaster the guy was.
I was or Casey was?
I think that was you that mentioned that. I think I could be remembering it wrong
We'll
too, but
use those words very, very often, and I can't remember saying them in the last decade, so I don't think it was me.
Yeah.
maybe that's not exact word, but I think that was the sentiment.
Fashion disaster. Terry Stokes talked about his
Who you're
suits,
talking about.
Well, Terry Stokes is definitely not a fashion disaster.
but he was the one that was nervous on stage.
I think you're
yeah.
talking about a circus clown, but
Might be it. I don't know.
I don't know about
Anyway.
being. So somebody was nervous on stage and they had their notebook.
No, he had like, I don't know, if I remember correctly, he had like purple and orange. You said that did not go together. That's just like, whoa, that's.
Oh, were you evaluating their outfits
I wasn't.
for the boot camp?
Was
like,
it
is that,
Alex?
but was that the context it was in?
I think it was that guy
Some
Alex.
guy
who
on
was
stage
showing
is all.
pictures of himself.
Is here is here or was on Tuesday night. I can't remember which.
I don't know. It's not ringing any bells to me. So
I wasn't. No, I don't recall that on Tuesday. Okay, so you're not talking about someone at the conference that we were just at.
No. Just right here amongst some of the stuff that we were showing here.
Okay.
And
think it
looking
was
at
him.
Maybe it might have been me, but that was like a month ago, I think.
probably about that. Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, I don't recall. I don't recall.
I didn't recall every little detail. I just remember your reaction. Like, oh my gosh.
We had someone come to boot camp that had a different, and you should, so if you're going to do boot camp, make sure you have an idea of who your character is. We definitely are having pre-zooms beforehand to get you like there. You're going to want to have costume. And we had a guy that came and he had a different costume for every day. It doesn't have to be a different costume for every day. If you have your identity, that's fine. And this guy's costumes got progressively crazy. Now they totally fit his personality. He was totally a burner. And on the last day, he was wearing like a tie-dye onesie. it was insane. He did have his notes, and I was like, Alan, you told them they could take notes on stage. He goes, I meant 1 3x5. These people had everything written out by
it.
17 pages of an induction. And finally, the last show he did, he was like, with his notes, like, I don't need these anymore. He's like,
awesome.
For God's sake. Yeah. So that's part of, we do talk about being aware of who's on stage with you. If you are reading your induction from notes, you are not aware of where your volunteers are. You
right.
can't. So.
Yeah.
Huh. But yeah, if you want to do stage, it'd probably be beneficial to take their boot camp.
We are the ones. We're the ones
Yeah.
that get you on stage day after day after day.
It sounds really intense and very effective and efficient.
It is effective. And we have a couple people. We have a guy that's come back 3 times because he wants to build new material. He's a corporate speaker like Anthony Gailey. And this is where he can try out material before he takes it to the corporate world.
Yeah.
Nice.
And he's fun to hang out with. So
I'm not sure what to send to Jim, what I should say.
ask
About what?
ChatGPT, baby.
Yeah.
What do you want to send something about?
To do a presentation to the gym members.
So you're not sure what pitch to send to the gym to pitch the pitch?
I got no pitch.
Okay, but you're wanting a pitch to pitch the pitch, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like Lisa said, ChatGPT. So we need to write a presentation pitch, right?
Okay, what you thinking?
Okay, what are we pitching? What's it for?
An athletic club in a high-end clientele for weight loss hypnosis. And of course it will bleed into, and it's not really about your weight. It's about your trauma, and it's about anxiety, and it's about fear and feeling safe and all that, but down the line, right? Battling sugar cravings, emotional eating.
Yeah, you don't tell them all that. That's too much. This is a first date, as Rich Guzzi says.
Yeah, yeah. But I would like to do cruise ships and stuff like that. That'd be fun.
Oh, you'd be perfect for it.
I mean, I don't want to do a 6-month stint on a cruise ship, but if they drop you in on a chopper and pick you up and take you out of there after a day or two, get some private clients, that wouldn't suck.
Okay.
Okay, it's not, I would need to work a little bit to engineer a better prompt.
Yeah, I
All
agree.
all I'm getting out is basically what to say in your presentation.
Oh, no, I didn't
Well,
get that.
send me that too.
Here's
Send me
mine.
that too.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's the best, but yeah, sure.
You'll have to work this, but there's something. It says, Beer Fitness Center Management, I'm sure you have their name.
Yeah.
I hope this email finds you well. I would take that out, strike that.
Did
My
you put
name
this in
is-
chat?
I put this in chat, yeah. I would change a lot of this because I'm a big believer in you versus I.
Sure.
So I would say something like, following up per our conversation the other day, my expertise is in weight loss through hypnosis. I'm reaching out to offer my services to your high-end fitness
Great.
center into that as a way to complement your existing programs and provide additional value-added service to your clients. As you are well, weight loss can be blah 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 blah. I mean, you'll need to. I'm an engineer. Give me something, I'll make it better. So that's what
great. Yeah, totally.
for something. I take what they give me and then I make it better. But yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I just need something to spark the idea, and then I can roll with it.
And I would cut this in about half, really.
Yeah.
It's too wordy, but
Awesome, honey. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yay. Thanks. I just copied it and put it in my notes.
You're right back.
it gives you something it gives you a starting point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would definitely chop it. Like where it says, let's talk about making better food choices. I'd cut all that. I wouldn't
Okay.
not much info because it's first date. I would say something like, I'd love to set up a time with you that we can meet next week and talk a little bit more about what that looks like in your, because I'm assuming you want to work there.
No, I would have them send me the clients, I think, or whatever they, I could do maybe a weekly group there.
There you go.
That was the kind of thing I was thinking.
That'd be
Yeah.
cool.
You get your private
Yeah.
clients.
Yeah.
I pasted what it gave me into
Oh,
the
cool.
chat. So
Thanks.
there's a couple things to get you started.
You guys are awesome.
Oh,
Yeah, this is the pitch. I asked it for an email. So tell me an email I can use.
yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Awesome, Scott. Thank you.
Yep, I want to offer a complimentary hypnosis talk to your gym members.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's
Cool.
But all right, guys, I think it's about that time.
Mhm.
I know my wife's probably going to be ready to go to bed soon. So
You think so?
yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. No problem. We'll see y'all next week.
Have a great night.
You
Y'all
guys
too.
Thanks.
stay warm.
You too.